Can I have a motion?
You're live. Motion to start the meeting.
Great. Meeting's open. So last week we talked about some of the inventories. Some people weren't here to go over their inventories. It ended up taking the whole meeting, going through just the people who were here, their inventories. So we said that we would touch base on those inventories, those folks who didn't have a chance to talk about their inventories. Also talk about the survey. Chip sent everybody the gun quit survey. Did everybody get that?
Actually, I didn't send it. I only sent it to you.
Yeah. Chip sent this to me.
Did everybody get it?
Did everybody get it? No,
I didn't.
send it to everybody.
I didn't check my email anyway.
I printed it, so if people want to look around and take a peek at it, I'll pass it around.
Because all I had was the old distribution list.
Okay.
So I knew you had the newer ones. That's why I just sent it to you.
And I didn't get a whole bunch of responses from that email that I sent out telling me phone numbers and which email address you prefer, the town or your personal. Everybody just needs to let me know so I can update that. And so Chip can know that he can get rid of
I
it.
think everybody here was here last week, except of you, right?
I thought it was that we're all going to use the town and then.
Well, that's right. You weren't
He
here
was
last
not
night either. No, so for those that weren't here, so the amount of emails that we're gonna have on this committee and a lot of the committees is more or less, hey, we have a meeting this night, can you come, can you not come? Which really there's no retention requirements for those kind of emails because they're nothing. So, and I also can't force volunteers to use a town email. And even if they sign up, if they never look at it, what good is it? So if you prefer to use your own personal email, I don't have an issue with that. Just understand is that down the road, there could be some Freedom of Information Act wanting to see your emails, and then you just have to pull out the town ones that are applicable and put it on would give you get it like a flash drive and just download it. You know, I had to do that one time out of my Gmail account. But again, meeting dates and stuff you don't have to retain. But if we're starting to send and have discussions, all that kind of stuff through email, which we're not gonna, then it shouldn't be an issue. So if you prefer just to keep your own email, your personal one, that's fine. If you want a town one, I'll be more than happy to provide it. So that's kind of where we stood. You weren't there. Do you want to use yours or do you want to use?
I can just use mine.
Okay. You think Andy would be the same way?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. So
I'll use the town.
you want a town one? That's fine. So
Okay.
I have one, so I'll use it.
and you've already signed up for it. You've already done that.
Yeah, I already logged
That's
in
fine.
and stuff.
That's fine. Yep, no problem.
Mel, you're gonna keep your personal one.
No, she's gonna.
No,
No, she wanted a
yes,
town. She
yeah.
wanted a town one, but we don't have that. She doesn't have that yet. She was a newer one that hadn't been given one, so I've been trying to work with this.
Yeah.
So she will be getting one, but right now use her.
Personal for now.
Use her
Is that what
personal
it
for
is?
now. When did you get that? Did somebody give
A
it
few
to you?
meetings back, like not this one or the last one, but maybe one of the very first
Yeah, that
ones.
would have been. That's probably what it would have been.
I don't know if that's
But
activated
you'd
or
have to
what
get.
have you.
It probably isn't. You probably have to get a password from Jen. She would have sent you an email or whatever. So
Yeah, I just have to call her and
I'm gonna use
ask
your
her
personal
for the email.
Just
No.
send me something and then I'll
Yeah,
figure it out.
and then just let me know when your town email is activated. If you
So do
wanna
I get something that I click on and activate? I guess I don't understand. how to
you'll
activate the town email.
when we give you a town email, you will get an email to your personal one to let you know how to activate the email.
Alright, and then I let you know, Sarah, I'm good to
just
go.
let me know when you're active, and you'll actually have to call Jenny for your password.
Because she'll have the password, so that's why.
Jenny, 8675309. Sorry. Alright, so call Jenny. Alright.
I forgot what I was saying now. We sorted out town.
We did.
We sorted out town emails. Anyway, that a gun quit survey is being passed around. You guys can check that out. I actually haven't had a chance to look at it. He sent it to me like an hour ago.
It had to have been an online. I mean, I thought it might have been multiple copies because that header popped up in there quite a few times. So I was looking to separate maybe some copies to send it around, but it's all every department, every
I don't know.
breakdown has right. So it's a pretty. that's their final survey. I know we're trying to talk about an attitude survey maybe to start. We
That's the one that Jay had sent me, cause I asked Jay, cause he hadn't sent or Lee, whatever, DJ, and so that's what he sent me.
That's fine. I just hit print on that, but I
No,
realized it
that's
was
fine.
100 pages.
So again, some of the work in
It's a nice structure though. A lot of good information.
to get in right when we start looking about a final survey.
Did
I think
it look
added-
like there could be some
Like all
attitude
those-
survey questions in there at all?
Not really, because it was pretty. I didn't look through it very in depth,
Right.
but perusing through it, it was more just information gathering
There's some
and
demographic questions which we might wanna add to our survey anyways, just so we know who's saying what and where and when, but yeah, broad attitude, probably not a lot in there.
When do you plan on sending out the Lebanon survey?
We're hoping to have it at the election in November, to have some of us there asking people to fill out.
we get a button.
They won't get mailed to people,
Probably not.
so you won't be hitting everybody then, you'll just hit a few people.
Probably not. So I think we're gonna have to do several surveys like
Well,
we
there's-
discussed
yeah.
before.
We had this discussion yesterday.
So one of the things that we had talked about was just the demographics of catching as many people as possible. So the election would be awesome, and then if maybe there was like strategic locations that would be set throughout the town that we could advertise. Pick up your survey here, and then there'd be a list, and it could be a small sheet that we maybe hand out at the election, and then capture as many surveys as possible at the election. So people are coming in that day, and if they have time for the survey, we're over here, we're grabbing as many as we can, but for those who don't, maybe a quarter sheet that we can throw to them, and there's like, 6, 7, 8, 9 places that they can go. They can see it here, they can pick it up there,
And then we discussed the transfer station
Right.
too.
Right, let me just show you,
There's a
for
lot of
example,
men.
So what?
Busy there. A lot of men. It's pretty busy there when I go on my little field trips to the dog. My husband.
we're doing a newsletter, and so these are the boxes that we're gonna have, so it's just like you should know this, it's a real estate box. So we're gonna have the newsletters in here, we're gonna mount them on both sides of the shack transfer station. So people can then take a newsletter, but again, between newsletters, and the newsletter's only gonna be quarterly. So between newsletters or whatever, or when they seem to slow down, we can always throw those out and throw surveys in here. And so we're gonna do that, we're gonna have one of these down at Hometown Mobile, we're looking at different places that we have where people congregate to put these.
Mhm.
So that's, just to try to, because again, we're not mailing the newsletters out, because we're trying to save money.
Right.
So it just becomes pretty cost,
so hometown transfer.
we're looking for areas where people congregate, maybe Welch's stuff. And we don't even need one of these, so like at Welch's, we can just give them a stack, and here, you throw this out somewhere, and, Riverside, we can give them a stack,
And here.
Trains,
If you wanna,
We'll have
So
them here,
hometown
trains.
trains.
Dollar
We could even
General.
make one of those little drop
a lot of
box
people go to Dollar General.
boxes with a
Yeah,
slot
yeah, so
in it,
it's,
so people can drop them right in there.
Now, is it okay to I guess I don't wanna break rules, I had to do a little swearing thing today and it made me nervous really, cause I'm like, if we decide this is something we wanna do we, it's a little project and we work on it out of here? It's okay to work on this type of stuff out of this meeting? And then, okay. Alright,
Sure.
so, do you wanna pick up this little tiny project?
I'll help
Of maybe Peg and I can, over the course of the week, maybe call some people and say, how do you feel about this? And then we can add them to a list of places that we can.
I also think if we're gonna have businesses have these surveys for people, that we have to have some sort of Dropbox for them, because they're supposed to be confidential, anonymous. They're not writing their name on them.
Right.
Right, so certainly one Dropbox, the town has a Dropbox right outside here that they can throw it in. So that's certainly one, because that's off hours. So they can throw it in there. We could even have a box out here that they can, or just give it to anybody, but that's, I know this is supposed to be anonymous, but if they want anonymous, they can throw it in there. If they just want to hand
We'll
it.
do the survey up.
Well, they can return mail. If you have an address, you can return mail, that's anonymous.
If they want to send it to us,
Hold it up and.
yeah, if they want to send it to us, but it's we're not gonna put any kind of postage on it. And we don't have like a meter where we only pay for what's sent back. We don't have that ability.
Do you think the fire department will let us post on their sign outside that we're holding a survey?
I'm sure they will.
Yeah. I mean, I think when that happens, I mean, we have the sign down here.
If
That
we're
we
gonna
can-
do it at the election time, if we're gonna be there, they usually put the election on their sign too, so.
Yeah, I mean, again, we could say, please fill out survey, or something fairly simple that can also fit on the same.
Planning committee surveys are out, please.
Look for a plan survey or whatever.
Again, I can get it on the webpage. We have, again, we have the town meeting, we can mention it there.
When is that?
October 11th, don't quote me on that though, but right around there. Again, not that a lot of people go there, but, we can, spread the word. Deborah, I'm sure will throw it on her Facebook page.
What's the town meeting?
For the referendum vote. For the 2 referendum items. It's always just like this one before the June vote, which is all the referendums, all the budget items, everything else. This is just 2 items, so hopefully it'll be quick. It's not contentious, I don't think, and so yeah.
You're trying to do one big survey or numerous little ones?
Well, I mean, I think we've bounced the ideas around, so I don't know. And again, it's just I just throw stuff out there and see what sticks. But I mean, we talked about doing some surveys up the transfer station, and just trying to ask people a couple quick questions, to like some Saturday when you're getting a bunch of people in and out. But that's a couple of quick ones, so it's not really a So
Well, we talked about having an attitude survey, some focus to give the committee some sort of sense of direction or something to focus on, and then you have the Algonquin's final survey, which is
you have more detail, which is more strategic and
right,
stuff.
but to the plan.
Right. So there's really 2 surveys. I mean, the attitude shouldn't be a ton of questions. It really doesn't need to be.
Yeah, I think some people won't wanna do it if it's not that long.
The longer ones we can also do through like a Survey Monkey or Survey Gizmo or whatever online, which can do those as well as printing them out. So I mean, but and we can even do the attitude one that way as well. To get more response, but the attitude probably doesn't need to be that long. The problem is that if you want to get demographic information on it, so even the attitude, male, female,
Wondering why
roughly what age they are. I mean, at what age category they kind of fit in.
why do we
Why do we need
want
that?
that?
Yeah, why do we need that?
I think you want that because it tells you how lopsided your survey is. So if all you get is senior people, or all you get is women that return your forms, if you don't have that information, you have no idea what cross section you've just received from.
If that's what you end up with, you can't make the others do it if they don't wanna do it.
No, but you can't make them do it, but it tells you. But if you're getting only a certain cross section, and there's other cross sections in town, then you're gonna say, well, how do we try to hit some of
How do
these,
we refocus?
how do we try to refocus and hit some of these other ones? What can we do to at least get their input? Let's say, for example, it was all females that you got. Do you go up to the Legion meeting or whatever, or, because there's mostly guys there, just to get where do a bunch of guys meet? I mean, where
At the transfer station.
or
Yeah,
again, I mean, so what I'm saying is, then you could use that to help refocus to try to get some more varied input. But if you don't have that
Put out a
information,
sign
you
of
don't-
free beer.
you don't
I'll show up. Free beer, free wine.
if you don't have that information, you don't, and the same thing with younger versus older. If it's all old people that are filling out the surveys and you're not getting any young input, how do you refocus and how do you,
Right, because if you're trying to plan the future direction for the town,
does it really?
age
It is a different
demographics.
perspective, yeah, not the.
Well, it's a totally different perspective, yeah.
Perspective.
People that have lived in this town their
Someone
whole
who's
life and
20
they want
and
it a certain
somebody
way, or
who's
people that are
40
coming
and
into
somebody
town and they want it to go.
Yeah, and again, without any kind of demographics on it, you don't know what you have. So that's, I mean, it's still anonymous, it's just kind of, it's just some basic demographic information. We don't have to go into detail, we don't have to do, I mean, some would go, are you college educated or highest education?
Irrelevance.
We don't have to really do that. But I think male, female, age bracket,
Right.
I think that certainly helps. I mean, those are the two key ones that I can think of. I don't know. You can look at that survey and see what other ones they
A
have.
lot of the survey doesn't even apply to us. I'm reading through it. A lot of it has to do with public parking.
No, but if you look at the first couple of pages, it
It
has
all kinds of
demographic
information.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It even asks if you've ever served on a town board. What's your relationship? How long
Yeah.
have you been part of the community? What's your gender? What's your marital status? How many children by age? What's your age? What's your income? What's your employment status? That's a bit
Nobody
much.
signs it.
Huh?
Nobody signs it.
No.
Some of that stuff is kind of personal.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like to ask how much money they make.
No, again, it's just demographic. They're trying to, but I mean, again, I don't think children in the house probably might be a good one.
I would like to know if there were children because that determines.
Are there children? And I would just say, are there children in the household? You can just do it that way, yes or no. I mean,
Right.
Rather than how many and.
And, age bracket maybe. Because obviously the need for a infant to a 17-year-old
Right.
or even a 5-year-old versus a 16-year-old is going to be a little different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else do they have
I
for
feel like we
demographics?
should big huge projects here.
So we have.
So there's been some.
We have sex, we have age, bracket. We have
Children in the house?
Kids.
children. What else do we say?
Well, we're thinking children and an age bracket for the children. So we can tell if it's a young kid or a teenager.
Right. And then what else? What else do they have for demographics on that thing that we might?
They have a ton. Employment status,
No.
annual household income, highest level of education, are you a registered voter? How many days do you and your family members use?
There was one that was relationship to, or how are you related to the town? I mean, it's like full-time resident, part-time resident.
Yeah. Describe your relationship year-round, property owner, seasonal property owner, year-round,
That's a good
renter.
one.
So that would be good.
Question.
Property owner,
Property
renter.
owner, renter.
So what does it say? What's the
Relationship to a gun. To Lebanon.
relationship
To town.
to town? Okay.
It's owner, renter.
Yep.
Full-time and part-time resident. So that'd probably be the
Own rent, yeah, full-time. or
part-time, so
part-time.
probably the four.
Well, yeah, probably you might want to.
It's like people.
You want to separate property owner only.
Is there one that talks about unemployed, employed, retired?
Yeah, there
It's
was.
kind of
There was one.
that's not. I don't think that's too personal. I mean, just to know.
Then another one asks, how long have you been part of the community? 1 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 20, or more than 20 years.
That one might be good. I mean, to see what the influx of the
Yeah, the
Yeah. So that's time in community, time in town.
Time as resident.
Length of residency.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think, yeah.
Yeah, because the amount of size of the town's changed in the last 20 years is.
We're not gonna, I don't think we wanna try to get census information from this. I think, I would argue against that.
No, it's not. You're not getting census information, but you're seeing how your answers relate to the census
well,
information.
part of the demographics of population is the length of your residency and well some of the examples that we've seen were how long have the residents been in town and that.
Do we want employed and retired? Do we want that or not?
I think that's
So
a
I
little
think you're-
personal for this.
What are we gonna use the information
You're
for?
retired, you're
I have
by age or not.
from this
So
last
the age would
census.
probably.
Well, if you have the retired piece, I mean that
The
does
age-
time to age,
The age might.
but
Lend to
to
that.
some of the public services or some of the public,
Capture some of that.
So age. Do we do? Let's talk about age brackets. Do we do 60 plus for one bracket, or do we go higher?
This one has a lot of brackets. They have 18 to 24, 25 to 34, 35 to 44,
How about just
45,
put
54,
age?
and it goes all the way up to over 85.
Yeah, that's because that you can't do, you gotta have radio buttons that they're hitting especially if you're doing an online version. So just filling it in doesn't allow you to aggregate the information.
Automatically.
Yeah.
So you have
So
to
they
do,
do
you have to
that.
do, you have to do it all manually.
I would do.
So they're
50
doing like every,
9 years.
Yeah, like I do like either like 55 plus. I mean,
do
55,
we really,
55 to 65, and 65
well,
plus.
I was thinking 60 plus is.
Because a lot of people work beyond 65 nowadays.
Well, they work till
so,
70, they work
Yeah.
till 80, I mean, but it's.
Yeah.
What does working have to do with your age?
No, it doesn't, I mean, I'm
Well,
just,
65 is 67, 65 is Medicare age,
Citizen,
is senior services.
yeah, but AARP is 60, right?
50.
50.
50?
Yeah.
Oh, crap.
Andy's happy because he gets it early. He gets to use my card.
It's awesome.
Alright, so we got, so we wanna go, would 50 to 65 sound good, and then 65 plus?
Yeah.
Does that sound?
I think some of the early brackets in this one, the 18 to 25, that captures maybe college age students that are still living at home, kind of, and then the 26 to 35, whatever the next bracket is, could be first time home buyers, new families.
26 to 35, and then 35 to 50, if we're doing 50 to 65?
Yeah.
And then 65 plus?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
I mean, do you wanna break up the older after 65? Is there,
No, I don't think so.
no, you should be sitting back and relaxing at that age.
that's fine, okay.
Starting a second career at 65, 7.
They have a good question here.
Do we have to do anything with sex to be politically correct, or is it just male, female?
Let's stick with
I'm
that.
not even going there.
Okay, just,
I mean, you could put the
Select
other
the
box on there.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing it out there.
I'd throw it out there.
Just select the box.
Oh, children-
on the body parts that you
Children
have.
age brackets? Children age brackets?
Children, yes.
Age brackets.
Yep.
Five and under.
Before 5,
Yeah.
5,
Pre-K.
5 to
0 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 18?
Yeah, because you're it's
I
not
would
your
do
next.
about
5 to 12.
I don't know.
5 to 12, I
Pre-teen,
like, and then
yeah.
teenage,
5
and
to 12, and
13
then
to
13.
21, 13 to 17?
13 to, yeah.
12 and then 13 are teenager.
Huh?
Usually you're
13.
retired.
0 to
I
5,
mean,
5
18
to
or
12.
graduated
13 to
18
21.
usually.
0 to 12 or 21.
I would stop at 17.
Well, this is talking about children, so children in the household.
Right, just say 18.
Well,
And
then
they could be,
separate-
and they
separate
could
in-
be
And
25.
separate out 18.
It could be in
to
college,
20.
it could
But
be.
where
And
do you
say
fill
for
out
out
your
18
own
older.
survey?
Yes, they would.
Yeah, they fill out their own survey.
No, they would from their perspective, but we're asking people if they have children in the household to know whether they're adults that are looking after
Yeah,
kids that
then I
have.
would say separate out 18 to 21. 18.
2010. I just went
Did
on
we
the
not update that with this?
Yeah.
Okay,
In case there's some 35-year-olds
Although they
in the
won't be
house.
considered children, they'll be called adults, so let's keep 13 to 18.
13 to 18, and then
2010.
usually they're graduating from high school.
5 to 12. So 3 brackets, 0 to 5, 5 to 12, 13 to 18?
Yeah.
Or 6 to 12, actually, yeah.
Pre-K, elementary, high school type.
Listen,
Why don't we do that instead?
What?
Instead of asking for an age, ask school, pre-K, elementary,
Yeah, are you,
middle
have you
school,
started
high
kindergarten,
school.
0 to 5?
Because ages are easier.
Is it? You had a 20-minute discussion about it. I'm kidding.
Well, my kid's not in school. I was pre-K.
that's true, what if they don't?
Relation to town, are we just gonna use what's in there, what you have there?
I thought that was good.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't know about all that. Some other stuff that's kind of. I mean,
Well, some of them don't apply.
right? You know, you own, you rent, you full time, part time.
So what do they have for
Year-round,
relation?
seasonal, or renter. Year-round, seasonal, rent.
Renter, maybe.
Yeah, because what if you're just, if you're not.
Because they have
What-
year-round resident property owner, seasonal resident property owner, year-round resident
What if
renter,
you just own property?
Multiple brokers.
non-resident property owner,
There you go.
visitor who moved to Lebanon.
So
That
not,
one doesn't.
So I think if you put owner or rent, that encompasses if you own property, whether you're full time resident or not. But then you own or you rent.
How about own,
And then if
rent,
you're-
seasonal?
well, I think you wanna,
Do you own or you rent your seasonal?
That's true.
Is that,
So check as many as apply. You own and you're part time, or you rent and you're full time, or you own and you're part time. You know,
Why don't we just keep all four?
And
So
basically,
you're getting into the agriculture also, a lot of farms and
That's why I
The
said
whole
you,
survey
that's why I
is
said
just
you
the
own, but you don't,
agriculture.
that's why I was saying you own, but you don't live here, but that's covered. She read that off.
Non-resident property owner. Which we do have somebody who's very involved in our town meetings who is that category.
Mhm.
So I think we should keep that one there.
Non-resident property, yeah, no, I agree.
Dana, cool.
Well, and there's seasonal, I mean, that's, I don't know how to. Or,
Non-resident.
well, that's non-resident property owners, there's a lot of the seasonal ones.
Well, seasonal is part-time, so.
A couple of different ways, right, to frame that, but that was,
I think non-resident
Like,
property owner covers all that though, I mean, it's.
Yep.
Because they're not a resident, I mean, if they're a resident, it's, they may consider them seasonal because they go down to Florida. But that's not what we're really looking at. I mean,
What's a part-time resident, I guess, like you're a full-time resident or you're a part-time resident?
Well,
Yeah, I
like
don't-
you're
I don't
seasonal,
think-
like you retire, you had to spend half your year.
no, if they claim residency as Lebanon, Maine, they're a resident. So,
But if they do it down in Florida, then what, they could be considered?
They would be a
No,
non-resident property owner.
no, not if they went down there,
But
as
they
long
have
as
to
they're
say-
here.
If they
Oh,
put
'cause they put
their-
the residency down
If they
there.
have their primary residence in Florida, but they
Then
own
they're,
property
that's right,
here.
then they're a
Right.
non-resident.
Don't pick one place.
And that covers all the camps and stuff that, whether they're all in New Hampshire or Massachusetts or whatever, they're non-resident property owners.
For people that are in campgrounds and stuff like that.
So year-round property owner, year-round renter, non-resident property owner.
That's good.
I'd say resident property owner, renter, and non-resident property owner. It's just, doesn't that cover everybody?
I think that's what I just said in different words, right?
Yeah.
Year-round resident property owner.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying, I would say year-round.
Okay, So
Because, because like Roland, I know a guy that he goes down to Florida, so he's not year-round.
so resident property owner, resident renter,
Actually, you gotta say renter, because by fact, if they're renting, they're a resident,
And non-resident property owner,
and non-resident property owner,
resident property owner,
non-resident property.
non-resident property.
non-resident property owner,
Yep, and then renter.
renter.
Yeah, I don't even think you need a resident.
I like the enormous thing, four things, check all that apply. Full-time resident, part-time resident, property owner, renter, just check all that apply. Cause this sounds confusing, as I'm listening, it sounds like I'm gonna have to think about this.
Property owner, resident.
just that non-resident
Property
property
owner,
owner could get kinda,
Renter or non-resident property.
Well, you're a resident property owner, you're a non-resident property owner, or you're a renter.
that gets
That
them all.
covers it.
That covers those three, that's not really that confusing,
It's only 3 questions, yeah, then you can pick from.
and that covers,
Cause you can't really check all that apply with those
with
options.
those three, I can't, right, I mean, I could add a bunch of
Only one.
others, but I'm just saying that if those three cover it,
Do you wanna ask how long they've been, part of the community?
Yes.
Is it part of the
I think so.
community or a resident?
relation to the town or whatever you said, yeah.
Length of residency.
Length of
How long have
residency,
you
I think is a
been-
better question,
Right.
cause I can answer
Yeah,
that.
length of, well, you had relationship to town and length of
That
residence,
means,
I put down both of those. Oh, relationship to town, we just did,
I think those are two questions.
I'll catch up. So length of residency, less than 10 to
Just
20.
length of residency, fill it in.
It says.
No,
No,
you
yeah,
gotta do,
one to
yeah.
5, 6 to 10.
Radio buttons is if
Yeah.
you pick one, because the survey does it automatically, will give you all the demographic rather than you have to, it's like an other answer.
Okay,
There's only 4 options.
no, and I understand that, but if someone's gonna pick that up out of a box, they're gonna,
They can just check it.
But it's because it's gonna be the same survey that you put online.
I do think people like just to check instead of write.
It says 1 to 5, 6 to 10,
Check, check, check.
11 to 20, more than 20.
Okay, 1 to 5, 5 to 10,
6 to 10,
6 to 10, 11 to
20,
20, 20 plus.
20 plus. That'll give us
Yeah,
a really good idea. The 1 to 5 and the 6 to 10 will give us a good idea of when we've had the most influx, whether it was the
In the last 5 years
04 and
or
05
right.
market, or
I'm only wondering whether 20 plus is enough of a breakdown. I mean, I've been here for 25 and I'm still considered from away. I mean, I'm not. So I'm trying to. I don't know whether.
do you want to go
How
more
about
than
forever?
39, yeah, I'm 39.
never left?
Never left.
Born and raised.
Well, either that or multi-generational. Because that's. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, if your family's from here and you're multi-generational, I think that's.
We
You
could
can-
add that one in.
You can, as an option, like another option.
Do we care? I'm trying to
I
think.
guess I'm confused.
It's,
I mean,
it can,
what we wanna know is,
how many people actually are staying generational? That could be
we wanna
influential.
know that we've got I think, a representative.
Yeah, you're probably fine.
Well, you're gonna capture some of that if you're going by age, if you're going the age, and if you're going the length of time in town.
Yeah, you're probably right.
You're gonna have some overlap
For
there.
demographic
I
information
can
doesn't
tell
really
you-
matter, probably you're right.
That from the last census, I had to think of what the word was. Census. The median resident age was 39.3 years.
Median? Okay.
And then the median age for Maine was 43. And if you're a man in Lebanon, you get it made because there's more men than women.
I like that, you got
Isn't
it.
that the other way? That's the other way around.
That doesn't sound like it being made.
If you're a woman, you have it made.
It doesn't sound made.
I was gonna say.
I was gonna say, I think
Well, you know when you have to select your gender.
right.
Alright,
So
so that's fine, 20 plus, that's fine, we'll leave
20
it there.
plus.
Yeah.
Then gender,
Yep,
and then age brackets. This one
We did
gives
that.
us like
Yeah,
20,000
we
age
did-
brackets.
yeah, we did that, 18 to 25, 26 to 35, 35 to 50, 50 to 65, and 65 plus.
You ran through the survey, so you missed that part.
Duplicator, 66 plus or whatever, I don't know.
All right. Good. And then hold on, I think there was one
Is
that.
there any others that were worth?
Oh, what do you think about this one? It says, please tell us about yourself. I'm a registered voter in the town. I pay real estate, excise, or personal property taxes to the town. I'm a full-time permanent resident of the town, or none of the above. That was on their main page.
Yeah, but that kind of duplicates what some of the
They're
things.
registered.
Because if they're, I mean, we assume if they're a property owner, they're paying those taxes
Yeah,
anyway.
better be, yeah. It should be, should I say.
Yeah, the only factor is there's the voting part, but that can be gathered.
Maybe I'm a
That
registered
can be
voter,
gathered.
maybe
That voting.
Yeah, but
No, not necessarily off voting, but anyone that's part of the party can, running or whatever, can usually grab that information from the.
But again, it doesn't, for this, it's residency versus non-residency.
Yeah.
Renter, you're gonna assume that they're a resident. I mean, I don't know why you'd be renting here if you weren't a resident, you know.
Do you want to ask if they've ever served on a town board or committee? Do we care about
I
that?
don't think that really
No,
matters.
that's first one.
I don't think this, for this one, I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
No.
Marital status doesn't matter. And we already talked about children's ages. Household income doesn't matter.
No.
Oh, that's no.
Employment status,
Not at this time, no.
Yeah, we decided not to, right?
education, and then again it asks if you're a registered voter.
No, I mean, again, it's, cause they can register at the poll, so what does that really matter for the questions? It's not really. Cause if we get if everybody's registered and we get their responses, is that good or bad? Do we then try to go out and find unregistered ones to get responses? Not really.
It might make them think though.
If you're not a registered voter, why would you not wanna be?
In a later
Sit
poll,
there
in
and
a later poll, it might become relevant, but not right now.
No, I understand that.
'Cause that's more with, how active are you with the community?
Okay.
So this next section was about communications and information. I think this is good, but I don't know if we need the information. It asks, do you follow town, board, or committee meetings? Yes or no. And then rank in the manner in which you learn about or follow local issues, events, volunteer opportunities, town committee vacancies, with number 1 being the most utilized. And then it lists like their town website. if they attend town board or committee meetings. We don't have a chamber of commerce.
I
Live
don't
streaming
I
of the
don't think
meetings.
that's attitude. I think
Yeah, I was
that,
gonna think, we're
No,
gonna get
that's-
to the
that's
point where
one.
this one sheet of paper is gonna become
Yeah, people
a
are gonna
back-sided
people are
sheet of
gonna just
paper, it's
throw it
gonna
away,
be
they're not gonna care.
it's gonna be a two-part
Too much,
paper,
too
it's gonna
much.
be,
I don't think that's attitude. I think that's communications, which is on the strategy side, which is on the next survey that we do. But I don't disagree with that for the next survey. But I don't think for attitude is that's not really asking their attitude. So you're trying to get some demographic stuff, and so the same demographics we can use for both surveys just to be consistent with demographics, so we know who's answering what questions.
I was thinking about some attitude questions to have on there, and do you think it'd be a good question to ask to some extent? Do people understand the importance, or would they support a comprehensive plan for the town moving forward? Because that's really what, I mean, if they went through this before and it wasn't supported, not that we deter ourselves from doing that, but what can we do to promote it?
It'd be nice
If
to
we put
see
this
how
out there,
many people
and there's
are-
25% of the
yeah,
people
how
that
many
support
people
it,
support you.
and don't other people support it, then what do we need to do to get the talk going? So that's a simple one-line question with two answers. Do you support?
That's a great question, and that's why it was on the referendum, and that's why we're all meeting here tonight, because the town said yes.
Oh, they did? I don't even remember voting on
We
it.
just voted for that.
We just voted.
That was on the referendum on the last ballot that we had. So asking about the comprehensive plan committee, if people were
Oh, now I
interested in the
answered that
comprehensive
Maybe that's
plan.
why I was
like- Wait.
I didn't remember it.
That wasn't on a referendum, was it?
Yes,
What was it?
there was like 20,000 pages of referendum questions, and the comprehensive plan was one of them, which is why we decided to form a committee.
No,
That's
pull it
why.
up.
It was the marijuana items. It wasn't anything about a comprehensive
Pull
plan.
up the referendum questions from that vote
You talking about in May or you talking about in
When you voted to win?
November?
in May. I believe it was May. No,
It was
Yeah,
actually
it
June.
was-
No,
it was
it
one
was
of the-
November,
Yeah,
probably.
it
It was
in
June.
It was one
June,
of them.
that's right, it was
Yeah,
in June.
okay.
It was June.
Yeah, it was.
Alright,
Do
that's
we have
cool.
access
People
to
want
those
it.
questions?
People want it. Yeah.
It's fine.
Maybe that was fresh in my,
Well,
maybe I had it in my mind because I had read it and voted on it, but I don't remember
I
it.
don't remember.
Conversation today.
I don't remember it up. There was, so the questions, and this may be where the questions were on the moratorium, because in order to put those plans in place, we needed to have a comprehensive plan. So that was all part of the discussion with the planning board when they were talking about the marijuana laws and stuff. But straight out comprehensive plan,
I believe it was.
because we
Discussed it, like, let me see. Maybe
you discussed it in planning board, but there was never a referendum, because to form a committee, you don't need to have a town vote, you just form the committee.
Let me
so-
see if I can find it.
Well, if you were to ask that question now, except I wouldn't know what you were talking about.
Well, you'd have to, you probably would have to put a description about.
All right, something to that effect.
Yeah.
Are people gonna support, or are they gonna do they understand why it needs to be done, or do they, is there something we can get in a 3 or 4 sentence with a yes, no question?
Yes, no, need more information, Mike.
Need more information. That's a good one.
I think one way to do it is instead of,
need more information.
You use that one a lot. Need more
I need more information.
are you in favor of forming a long-term plan for the town of Lebanon?
Why?
Exactly.
Are you in favor of having a long-term plan for the town of Lebanon? Simple question, yes or no? So it's not it's not comprehensive plan, it's not, so you're saying it in their terms, because they're gonna go, what's a comprehensive plan? It's a long-term plan, because that's what it is.
Well,
Right.
yes, no, need more info. I would
The
definitely put
benefit,
that.
right, is that we will qualify for state monies that we don't qualify for now, because we don't have a,
No, there's a lot of, I think we need to communicate to sell the comprehensive plan and the value of the comprehensive plan, and we're not gonna do that in a survey.
Right.
But if you're trying to,
Well,
but I think by doing a question like that, you're already putting, because then you can go back to comprehensive surveys, that's a long-term plan. If everybody's in favor of having a long-term plan, if they all say, no, I don't want a plan, well then, you're probably not.
But then we need to do something to
Then we need to
promote-
update the one we have to the best of our
Right.
ability as an overall.
But I think if you have a bunch of people, then when you're selling a comprehensive plan, you can say, hey, listen, everybody is saying we need a long-term plan. That's what this does. That helps the selling. because you already had a little bit of the buy-in. Oh, I didn't know that's what it was. Everybody told me that was zoning. No, that's not zoning.
Right,
That's a long-term.
I can't get it because it brought me to a link to the town hall. When I click on it, it says page not available. So it must have been moved.
All right, you guys talk. I'll look.
Well, talk amongst yourselves.
Okay.
So,
Comprehensive.
So a verbiage in a way that gets to everybody, that we get some feedback to kind of give us the direction of, hey, we're on the right track. We got some support with what we're trying to do, or hey, well, we're gonna get to the point where we're gonna come up with this book of information of where the town is, and that's gonna be it. We need to sell it, and it's a question of, do you support the long-term plan for the growth of Lebanon, or something that, because everybody knows.
for the growth of Lebanon, I mean, that's the bottom line of it.
Yeah.
Do you support a long-term plan for the growth of Lebanon? Yes, no, need more
I would not
information.
push growth.
No, well,
People
We
don't
don't
like.
feel our town's gonna
people
grow?
People don't
Because
want growth,
People
Right.
may not want growth, so it's.
Right.
they wanna
Oh,
keep it the way it is.
A long-term
Some-
plan
your
is vague
age
enough. When you put growth in there, I'm gonna say, whose growth? Your growth? The growth you want, or the growth I want? I would start to get suspicious if I heard the word
okay, so
growth.
maybe
Even though you're
I
right,
just see
that's
it as
more
like
accurate.
making the town
What?
better.
But I thought something like
We need
this,
to
like
make this
we
town
had
better
talked
in so
about
many
it,
ways.
everybody
So I have them here. I'm looking.
Oh, you did?
I would
How'd
think,
you get them? Were they on the town site still?
Yeah, but it's not in the places. It's if you go to news and you just go down to the May vote, they're all there through the news. She posted them.
Can we print them, or is it too much?
but no, I thought like some of them like this is a good idea because I just think it gives
Well, I mean, it
people
won't be
feel like
friendly.
they're putting their 2 cents in,
Doesn't really
like
matter
they're
if they're
part
there.
of it.
right.
It's
That's why I think it's a
I
question.
think something like
We can
this,
get some general demographics, the questions that we've been
I
going
kinda
through,
like this,
and
because
then
I thought like this really was just stuff that they felt was important to them.
right.
And instead of trying to get all kinds of their own personal, a lot of people don't like to give out personal information. I mean, I don't mind doing that,
Yeah.
but I mean, I think something like this was more important to make people feel like they're involved and their 2 cents matters, or we're taking in what they feel.
Yeah.
Instead of just
We can
what-
even make the demographic questions optional.
Right.
Or like a little, I think they're both, if people are gonna I'd fill it out, I'm not scared.
Maybe we
But
can
you're
do
right,
that.
some people,
But there's a lot of people in town here that say it's none of your business.
So maybe we
They
can
feel
put
that way.
those demographic
Section one
questions
demographics.
last at the end, and
Right, and then
you
just,
know,
maybe if they start to
something
fill this
like
out,
these
they'll feel
questions
like
are optional.
we're not, yeah, and then they'll feel more comfortable doing those other questions, 'cause
That's a good thing, cause what we want most of all is the attitude things.
Is, yeah, what are you worried about?
Demographics would be nice, but the attitude,
yeah, I just
Would be the
figure you
best.
want them to feel involved. Kind of like we talked about doing something at the town hall. We do, kind of making it more like, it's a place for everybody to have, be able to come together and stuff and do things there instead of just, we just wanna put money into it for it to still sit there. Like you weren't here when we were talking about like the Boy Scouts, right,
Let's see if
Norm?
I can find it.
Like the Girl Scouts, you said the
The
Girl
Girl
Scouts
Scouts,
don't
yeah,
have a
when we did
place.
Girl
I mean, it'd
Scouts.
be nice to be able to have the town hall for those kind of meetings, for people to have their meetings there and stuff. So that was what that was all about.
Win the lottery and build a huge town center.
What did I just say
So we create a
yesterday?
big community
What does this
center.
town need? What does Love City need? A community center. Just that, yeah. Because it's hard for, the kids in the community to go
Yeah,
anywhere and do anything
you
because
give
there's
a
no standard location.
Congratulatory pat on the back to the janitors, because they're, 3-4 nights a week, there's groups in the schools and
Yep.
community ed and adult ed and planning. Does the planning meet here now? Planning board meet here?
Yeah.
And I was on the planning board for a period of time. We met in the library upstairs, and then in the scouts, and you meet there, and it's just. But
You said they don't let the Girl Scouts meet there.
Well, when Kenzie we had got
They weren't
done,
letting the
because there were
Scouts
like
meet there
rules.
anymore either, barely.
they can't meet in the rooms anymore
But they wouldn't even
because
let them use the
We
studio,
used the
they didn't
fire
give us houses
station.
at the end last year.
Yeah, like you
maybe,
couldn't
but
use
they're
those
back
houses, we had to
there.
move.
Well, they have their pack meeting. It's hard for them to have 4 different groups meet independently in the gym or the cafe. There's too much
It's hard.
ambient noise for 7, 8, 9-year-old boys to focus.
To focus.
So it used to be there was a classroom they could meet in,
Yeah,
but they were messing with teacher staff and da 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 da. So the Boy Scouts, the older boys, we meet at the church hall, and the Girl Scouts, one of the Girl Scout age groups meet at the church hall one night, and the church hall has
It's nice
something
that the
going
church
on.
has that, if they didn't.
Right, they have
Yeah,
something
right.
going on every night. We got that beautiful hall, old town hall,
That's what we were talking about.
that, could house
Convert,
a lot of activities, but anyway,
Yeah, go ahead.
back on track. So, so there needs to be then a wording put to that question to prompt a response to direct us or give us some. Do you support the development of a long-term plan for the town of Lebanon? And is there a snippet that can be put on there? A long-term plan is important for bada, or can be used for da da da, or do we just leave it at that? Just a question people are gonna ask. Well, long-term plan, what is that?
Now, this is a vision we're trying to develop, a vision for the town.
It's more of it's guiding.
Well, the survey, the initial one is to get an attitude, and so I'm not sure we want to be putting a bunch of information to try to sway people to vote a certain way, which if we put in a bunch of stuff, that's when you're trying to lean them to vote. So, I mean, we just kind of need to get.
So just leave it plain. Do you support the development of a long-term plan?
And again, if most answers come back yes, then that tells us we don't need as much work to convince them.
Right.
But if we get a bunch of no's
Then
or
we
a
know
big,
that we need to
then
promote.
we know that we need to really work on the education side to show them
You're
what
right, it was part of the marijuana.
this plan has, yeah.
So we did vote for this?
No, we didn't.
Okay,
We
we're
didn't.
not
It was
losing
all
our
part of
minds.
It was part of our marijuana.
Norman, you said it's a vision, did you mean comprehensive plan or the survey? I didn't understand what you.
The plan,
The comprehensive
Is the
plan,
vision.
when it's
the
final.
survey is just gathering where we're at.
Right.
Look at that real quick.
And the plan is a vision for the townspeople, not for us. I mean, it's sort of
Like
whatever
this.
they say, but it's.
I'll pass out this one here, I guess it's a good time to talk about this one. We'll pass those down there. So, this is where we're at from the agricultural point of view. So name, address, and then the farm name optional, because some people don't name their places, a particular place. And then check one, the commercial farm, hobby farm. Some people may not like the word hobby. So it could be small farm or independent farm or something. The word hobby turned off a couple people when I showed this to them. Then family operation. And then what we grow or raise or whatever, check all that apply. And there's other places for other there, and
Why do you have asparagus separate from kind of
some asparagus growers.
just asparagus?
They just do asparagus, and some just do corn, and some just do.
Separate from what?
Just vegetables. I was curious on that. I know corn. People grow corn for silage or for.
Yeah, they just do corn, or they just do pumpkins.
I don't think the legal cannabis piece needs to be on there.
Might want to add bees.
Well, there's honey.
And there is other there.
Oh, there is.
It's true.
But
Well, I thought maybe there was enough. There's enough of them that you don't need to put other for them. That's all.
The legal cannabis, a caregiver falls under the state, which is considered right now a home business. So if it were to go recreational,
doesn't matter who it falls under. If somebody's farming that here, the town should know.
You were gonna check in with somebody.
right? And so the
Did you have a
state
chance?
guidelines. It's the person. Then Nicole is a different pinpoint. I think her name was. There's a new name I was given, Gingers maybe. And that it didn't, a caregiver growing, whether it's 1 or 72, it's a home business. So it wouldn't
That's why I put it there.
be relevant to,
But it's an agricultural business, so wouldn't it be?
not necessarily, because,
See, that's where I was confused too. Remember last time we
Right.
met? I said I don't know if that falls under agricultural or if it
Right.
falls under.
So a grow house is considered a home business?
legal cannabis is
Medicinal.
medicinal. You need a license for it under the state, and it's considered a home business, as is 31 products, like 31 products. Home-based businesses, which yes, this is farming, but it's not to be a caregiver.
But how is a home business any different than a hobby farm or a commercial farm?
Then this survey would
family
need
operation?
to, if it's agricultural,
I mean, it's a plant. Isn't cannabis a plant?
I'm a medical caregiver and I don't have plants, so I can't. You're
Well,
not.
then you wouldn't need to.
And legally,
Well, then if you don't have plants, then you don't follow.
I put down legal cannabis, you're growing it.
For sure.
Whoever's if they're not legal, well, we don't
They're
want.
not gonna do
So you
the
need to have
survey.
so now that we're recreational, everybody that is allowed to grow 6 plants should be checking this off.
Maybe
Anybody that's growing 6 plants.
Yeah, because that could be like a, like I said, it's a small hobby is more like small or they're not doing it as a major source of revenue.
I guess
A lot
when
of
we're
those
ready to
people
publish
won't
it
do that.
and send it out. I guess when we're ready to publish this and send it out, we can see. And
Yeah,
I
I
can
think
get
we
some
can
more
do more
documentation and whatnot. I don't know. It makes me.
It falls into the land use and the
A
land
lot
use
of people
agricultural
who
land
just
use.
grow 6 plants for themselves,
What if you don't have?
they don't want
you
everybody to
plants?
know.
You
They're
don't
not
have
gonna.
Yeah, they're gonna.
No, but I don't feel any caregiver.
They won't fill that
They
out.
won't fill that out.
Well, they don't have to, if they're
I
not
don't
growing
think
it, they don't
caregivers.
have to fill it out.
You don't have to fill it out, they can't make you.
No, this is the,
No, and I understand that. I just.
Who
If
would
they're not
we
growing-
send
falls
these
into this
to?
category. If you're growing recreational,
Hmm?
yeah,
Who are we
absolutely.
gonna send these to? You were gonna send these to like the local area
I
farms?
just did this as a survey, use any part you want, but this would, we're not mailing it to anybody, right?
this will still
Because
be there
there's
in
no
one of
money.
those drop boxes at some
So
point.
they're gonna have to pick it up at different places and,
Well, again, we could put these.
these can be
We
as
can
part
put
of
these
another
on the-
bigger
on the-
survey.
One, I can put this on the website, so people could go there and download it if they wanted to and fill out. And then we could print off some stacks and put at your agricultural related places.
Triple
Yeah.
J's and.
You got a couple of them
Welch's
here in
and-
town that people are gonna tend to, the ag type people are gonna probably go to more often than not. To get that, and then they can fill this out to help give us information and to fill in the blanks that we don't have.
Agriculture related is, the vets, the the tractor supply, the grain stores,
right.
et cetera, they'll all wanna be, to me, they're gonna jump at filling that out and getting.
Yeah, the large animal vets, right, yep. Do we have any large animals here in town?
Yeah,
Large
there's
animal
one or
vets?
two.
Yes, okay.
So if I have dogs, I'm supposed to check this?
If you're
Not
raising
a farm.
dogs, if they just pets, don't do
How
it.
about they have flower gardens? So
That lady on 202, there's a lady on 202
This
that.
is
Yeah,
because
it's
his
more of a
section of the comprehensive plan is agriculture, so he's
Ah.
trying to get
So
a
this
means-
scope of what we have for agriculture in the town, so this would be for
Animals and land use, yeah.
farm inventories
So
and
This is
whatnot.
for his inventory, just so we can
So
find
more
out what the
like-
farms
more
are
like-
out there.
More like
Like data
businesses
collection.
or people
Yeah.
do this for a living?
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
regular households.
I don't think this would go towards
No.
Yeah, people have pets and,
Mhm.
some
I mean,
people have a horse for a pet.
Well,
They may feel this and they may not.
It's right here, I mean, so
It's up
you're
to them.
either a commercial farm,
Ah.
you're a hobby farm, or you're
Yeah.
family owned.
Alright.
But that's not really a
Alright.
personal if you just have a flower garden out front. If you ag related, so if you support these, these things,
Mhm.
whether it be like the grain store, I mean, different,
I see.
they're gonna be on there, a tractor place may, cause they sell farm tractors, so the batch
Tractor will be on
shelters will be on there because they're
Tractors.
supporting the ag business.
I think this is good.
Give you food for thought.
It'll help them out, right?
So, back on the attitude, there were some questions from the sample that you brought last time. Some of these questions can get, if we're gonna have the same survey in the drop boxes as we're gonna have published on the website or SurveyMonkey online, however we're gonna figure that out. A couple of these to choose from, or some like the boxes to check to get the information. Was the one thing you'd like to see about the future of Lebanon? I don't see that being on one of the surveys. if people write it in, maybe not SurveyMonkey Online, but if people write it in those forms, then we can go through them.
I mean, you can, but if you remember when Lee J was here, he talked about those surveys, and you really don't want, you really want to avoid other.
Click,
You
and
really want to avoid filling it in, because again, you just can't get,
So we want to avoid other and fill in questions. We want.
you really would like to
multiple
have,
options.
you really would like to have where they can select. And it
And
may,
see, that goes against what we had discussed at a
Oh,
previous
yeah.
meeting, saying
Well,
that we
but-
couldn't make those choices for those options.
but the attitude is, it shouldn't be, it's big picture. So it shouldn't be,
one
know,
particular part of the town they like over the other.
I mean, it shouldn't be that hard to, you either like it or you hate it or something in between. I mean, you don't need to have other. I mean, yes, maybe, no. I mean, there's not a lot of, for big picture stuff, it's not, I can see when we go down to the detail section, more to the strategy, you may have more of others in there to fit in something that maybe you didn't think of, but I don't think attitude, you have to be.
That question about Lebanon's biggest challenge, those are boom, boom, pick a box, choose one. That could be filtered in through the survey very well.
I mean, yes, on those, I suppose you could do other in case we didn't come up with a decent option.
Why can't they choose more than one?
And
Why
then
do
we
we-
so
yeah,
we
why one?
discussed under number 4 possibly doing like A and categorizing crime, drugs, and law, and then B would be services.
However, we
And
happen
so
to.
giving them the A, B, C, D, but encompassing, kind of grouping that together.
I mean, the biggest challenge is one. Biggest is the biggest. If we say, what are some of the challenges, well then, that would be multiple options. But if we're trying to ask them to put a priority on it, so that we know.
If they choose multiple ones, what's going to happen is
How do we know which one's most important to them?
when SurveyMonkey pulls out, there's going to be 65 chose. Spot A had 65 checks. Spot C had 62 checks. Spot D had 73 checks, and we'll know. But they,
We don't know which was the most important. We can't go by the number. If we just say just do one, then that one that whatever has the most is the highest for the most people. Number 2 is number 2 on the list, because that's people pick that one. So I mean, but if
I
you don't.
like the option of choosing more than one because then we get more info in one question. Although you can't rank them.
But we have no idea what's most important.
Most to least important because they're checking a box, but we can gather more information.
Well,
I mean, if we're trying to get the 3 most important things, then we could throw 5 in there, and then your option is fine. We just won't know out of the 3 most which one's top and which one's bottom. But
that's, this is gonna be pretty approximate at best anyway. The return rate is probably gonna be low to begin with, and people who change their, if you discussed any issue, people are likely to change their mind as to what's most important, or this week versus last week.
I think not if you use broad enough categories. I mean, it's not. I mean, that's the thing is this really big picture, and that's even what Lee J said is you got to stay big picture. If the next one narrows it down, which is if you look at the Algonquin, it talks about parking. It talks about it breaks all those areas down. So you can zero in on that area, and so yes, I mean different issues.
Even
Because you could because in one survey you can actually have one of those items not getting any votes, but it could still end up being very important to people. It's just not their most important issue.
Sure.
But like you said though, but you catch that up with another survey. You don't.
The survey, I don't know SurveyMonkey, so again,
Do you think a lot of
Are
people
you-
are gonna use the Survey Monkey?
A lot of people use online,
Really?
and
Well,
if we're trying to
You have
if we're trying
a
to
hard time with the 250 and right?
and if we're trying to get a younger generation, that's what they almost always do.
Ish.
Facebook.
But
Do the
what
survey
it needs
monkey?
is whatever we
No.
whatever we
Well,
choose
you
for
do a
survey.
link. You do a link out. You do a link to
Whatever
it.
it's for a survey that goes out to the public, and if they drop it back in a box, there's going to be some manual data entry that's got to fill out the SurveyMonkey for every survey that we get back in, so it can compile all that data together. So whatever manual ones come back in, there's got to be some.
clickety clicker, putting it into the system.
Well, either that or you can, I mean,
So are
again,
you able on
it's, you
SurveyMonkey
can,
to,
whether you do that or whether you just tabulate it in like an Excel spreadsheet, but yeah, you're still gonna have to get it
Right. Gotta get
on
into a
computer
usable.
somehow. Yep.
I still feel if we have them choose multiple options, I know you like the one option idea, but if we had them choose multiple, even if all of these options were listed and we said, select all that apply to you that you feel.
I think for this one,
It'll
it's gonna
still-
elevate the ones that across the general concern of the town have the most.
they're gonna hit the surface, they're gonna go to the surface.
Well, it's going to calculate it in a percentage, so even if the same one person selected every item, when we calculate those items, it's going to tell us what's
Where
the
the
most
concerns are
important is,
overall.
based on the percentage of the.
I don't know, I picked 2 others.
Well, we can't-
Mine was 2 others, I didn't even pick some of the stuff only I thought was more concerning.
Do you know what I mean? So I'm just thinking if we can have it as small as possible and get as much information as possible.
Can you
that would
rank
make us
on the
better.
SurveyMonkey?
I don't think you can, but then we can't have them rank it if they're handwriting it either.
I think you can
Well,
rank
if you
them.
were to do like, you know,
I think they rank them.
what is the one thing you would like to see for the future of Lebanon? Rank in order of importance. And
Like,
you put in 3 items and then they can drop down and your options are gonna be 1, 2, or 3. The next box, option 1, 2, and 3. So that category, you can handwrite it in 2, 1, and 3, or you can drop down and then it goes, I don't know how SurveyMonkey works.
Yeah, well, if you looked at the
Right.
survey they had like,
Cause I know I'm not gonna go on
I'm
that.
saying that you had the list, that you can have the list of items, high, medium, low, you know, so you can pick one of those 3 and then it'll grade it upon, when it aggregates the data, it just grades it all relatively.
I'm gonna look at that.
So what is an attitude survey gonna tell us?
Wicked
So, like,
issues.
What is the attitude of this town?
Yeah, it's gonna say what they feel, how they,
I think it gives them.
what they feel is,
The kind of key issues? for
yeah,
each
what they
person?
feel about what may be the key issue, what will be the hot topics.
What's
What they
bothering
call-
people the most?
Wicked issues.
What do they want to
Hot
see?
topics, wicked issues, yeah.
You can in the SurveyMonkey.
Rank.
You can rank it. It does allow that.
It's almost like, if it's as simple as that, your survey is, what are the 3 most important issues for you about Lebanon?
Like I said, you can do either way. It's apples and oranges, basically. You can, either ask for the top, you give a list and you have them pick 3 of them, or you give them a list and you have them rate all of them.
So if you can't write in, then you can't do the first one, right?
But I'm
Say that
just
one more time.
If you
struck
can't
by
write
we're
in,
we're
then you
doing
can't
a
do
lot
that
of
first question, right?
Right.
specific
So
questions.
avoiding right.
So
Yeah,
like,
and like I said, I
2, 3,
can,
4,
I mean,
and then changing 5.
the format of it can basically
Or can we
wait
keep
for
it
right
if
now,
it's
but I
marked?
mean,
Check it.
before
You
it
can-
gets
'cause
to,
those,
Check the top.
gets to
10
print,
you
if
can rank
the
those
decision would need to be
by
made.
points on a SurveyMonkey.
What are we gonna do, a degree, which is both what those
That was
two
not something that
those
I liked
two
from the beginning.
categories
The number 5.
Yeah.
I just
are,
kinda took
or
that from some
are we gonna be specific, which is just
and other numbers like
one, what's your most?
I personally think
You know,
that's
it's,
too much.
we have to make that decision
I like the
before,
concept.
before,
To me,
but then when it goes, right before it goes to print, then we have to decide,
I think 4 kind of.
if we're gonna go with the degree, which format of that degree do we wanna use? Do we wanna use a grading, or do we wanna use like the top 3?
I don't, why, because people don't want cops in there and they won't, or they want
And we
cops.
already have it right now, so
I-
it's not to be, we have it right now.
We have
It's-
what?
We have law enforcement right now, we're
Yeah,
being
yeah, we have.
monitored by the
But if
troop
everybody's
A.
happy with the way we are doing it, that's probably what it's on here for, like, right?
I
we
missed
kind
all
of-
this,
You think
this
that's
was.
Or people don't like it.
That was the same idea. We kind of stole a lot of that from another
Okay.
survey,
Okay.
and we kind of brought it together.
So yeah, crime and drugs,
Yeah.
because like.
time to go.
Oh, is it?
No.
What?
No.
It's
The
fire
fire
trucks
truck's
or
outside.
Hey,
Oh.
you want me to, I thought I might read this real quick, cause this,
Okay.
Go ahead.
refocuses
It's
us
time
on.
for- it's
Well, the
just
lights
time
aren't
for story.
flashing
It's
on the
nighttime
wall,
story.
so.
Well,
the
no,
night-
it
it's our
refocuses
Is that
us.
bedtime story?
Yeah.
Where's my hot chocolate?
So it says here, a community preference survey and a community attitude survey are both valuable, but they are both different tools. So the attitude survey tries to understand the values and beliefs of residents. Do they think the town is headed in the right direction? What is their attitude towards regulation versus property rights? What is their opinion on balancing open space and economic development? A community attitude survey helps define issues in town and can be undertaken early in the process. So that's what we're
Right.
talking here. Community preference survey, which is down the road, tests proposals and ideas. Do citizens favor more affordable housing in town? Should the town invest in a new industrial park? A community preference survey is most useful after problems and needs have been analyzed and proposals to address the needs are beginning to take shape. So, that was on page 10 of.
So that's where we are.
So our original attitude
So that's the
survey that
attitude
we had
survey.
created was more in line. So tonight we spent a lot of time talking about the demographic. So should we add the demographics in with the attitude surveys?
Yes, I think you add the demographics to
With
all
both,
your, to
with
all your
both.
surveys.
Yes.
That way you know,
Cross section you gather.
Yeah.
Alright, and then reword some of this. You can do the ranking on SurveyMonkey. It does allow that. So some of these, maybe instead of select one, we could say, rank these in order of importance. And then we'll get a good idea, cause then we'll have somebody answer about every.
Do you prefer that or do you prefer to choose multiple?
If we rank them in order of preference, then we get a better idea of what was most important to the person. Where if we just say circle all that you feel are issue, we don't have that ranking. But I still feel once we calculate everything, it'll tell us what was most important.
Are we not able to hand this out, like literally to the voters when they go
They
in that little
will
cubby?
be handed out. Some will, but I thought we wanted to have a
If you're
similar
trying to do it-
survey
if
for
you're
both.
trying to do it in multiple fashions, okay, then you need to have it.
Same format.
So you can't do different
Right.
surveys, you have to have the same survey.
To make it matter.
So we'll have a table there. We
Yeah.
can't give it with the ballot, I don't think, but I
Oh,
think
no?
we can
I'm
have
way
it.
out. I'm
So
way
there's
out.
a certain amount that will do it online.
Could do it without.
Well, I mean, why not? It's the town that privately voting on how they feel about things. Why can't we do
Ask
that?
the selectmen.
Are you a select? You are, right?
I don't do the voting, that's
Can we
the,
like pose
we
that
have a,
question?
we have a chair, I don't, what, can we pose what?
You can't
We
hand
pose
this
the
out.
question, like, we're coming in to vote in November as a towns member, privately, behind this little curtain. And as a town, we're trying to find out where we are in the
So I
community and the
don't
direction we wanna go.
One, there are specific election laws,
Yeah.
because this is also a state,
How
this
do
is
we
also a
find out?
I don't think
state
you can
ballot.
do that.
And I don't think that they can hand out non-official things to people in the voting, cause it's, how do you know that it's not trying to influence their vote? So
When
I,
they're done. voting,
They're done.
then
when
they
they're done, when they
can
come
hand it
out, they normally have to come out, which is where you'll have all those people who are always trying to sell cookies and. So there, they can pick up a survey,
I wonder if
bring
they
it home, they can fill it out, whatever.
Yeah.
When they have to shove it in
I
the little
wonder
machine.
if they could
Oh,
take
it's
one
gonna be-
with them if they wanted to.
There you go.
And that bottom of the page just needs to have pick up and drop locations.
Okay,
I want them to fill it out then.
me too.
Give it back to me now.
Well, I
Well,
got
they get, someone would have to,
They
yeah,
won't, cause
you could ask them to.
you gotta have a backlog of places to fill it out. Cause people start coming in there 2 or 3 at a time, by the time you get 2 or 3 people at the end of one of those fold out lunch tables, you're out of space.
And plus, there's a
In that
lot
back
of people
corner
might not
of
be,
the election
they might
last
not
year,
have the time.
like, there were people out there trying to like get signatures and what have you, and that was just like, that wasn't really a good area to collect people exiting.
If they take it, we're never getting it back. What about this idea? Cause I know we won't get it back if they leave with them.
Well, that's the risk you
Well,
gotta
the
take.
other thing is they don't care
So
enough
you
to
know when you go
They don't-
someplace
Yeah,
on
you gotta-
vacation
They
that's
don't wanna care anyways
Yep.
then.
and after you're done with something, there's these people walking around with a clipboard and say, "Can I ask you a few questions about your visit?
I'm all over
Can
that, look at this
we-
clipboard, have you seen it?
Can we fill them
Do you have
out?"
time for some-
Yeah, can we say, "Do you have time for some questions?" And then we could just make little marks on how many votes we got. So if we put this in a different format for us to fill out, we can do like the whole like little do.
Or you could just have
Galleys.
a stack of the things and you just do mail. I know it's a mail. It's like okay, yeah.
Right,
Done.
some
Boom,
questions
boom,
they'll be
boom,
able
boom,
to answer.
Well, just and you ask them, just fill out. That's a sheet done. Next.
They don't even need to fill it out. Like you're a female, boom, I just checked it off. So Becky, what do you think's the one thing?
I'm telling you, I do the tables at voting all the time, and people
To get people to
don't
stop,
really want to
it's tough.
stop. You did it one year, you know, people
It's
don't
tough.
really want to stop.
Yeah, but
They
we can
wanna
have
keep
somebody
moving.
before they get into the booth. We can have somebody at the end of the booth, and we can
There's
have
a
3
line.
people in
You
the
gotta
damn
wait.
parking lot.
Remember how backed up that line got
They
last
don't,
year?
people don't want to even stop at our table half the time. I have to go out there and recruit them. I'm standing on the other side of the table to get people to come over. I don't think a lot of people are gonna take the time, they don't want to.
Well, I think if you hand it out,
I think we hand it out, have a place that they can drop it off.
Drop it off.
And if they care, they'll do it.
I would
If they don't,
actually-
they don't.
I would actually do 2 things.
You can try, we can try to get them to do it,
I would
but
get a small piece of. I mean, I think you can hand them out, but I'd also get a small thing with if we have it online, with that address that they can hand, so they can either hear it or here's the address, go straight here.
The
and
quarter
fill it out.
page, go back to that quarter page.
So that's-
No, I say it's important to have the same looking form.
Well, it's the same
Because
question.
if you change it,
if you have like at the bottom line.
if it's the same one, they'll say, oh, I already did that, and they'll
So they
be.
can have it and they can have it, they can take it, they can look at it, so they know what they're voting, and then they can go and do it
Yeah, as long
online
as
if
it's
they want.
not, I mean, multiple pages,
So
then you're
what's
printing out a bunch of wasted
What would the
paper.
deadline?
Yeah.
That's the only, I'm just thinking of cost, that's all.
Yeah.
So this should kind of be the head focus, is getting this put together for the election that's coming right up, right?
That's fine. Oh, almost done.
And that would be the kickoff.
Yep.
So I mean, and after that election, so we're hoping to have a newsletter out here probably this month, and so literally the middle of November, we can probably take that newsletter out. Cause some of the newsletter is about the voting and stuff, so that's kind of not applicable anymore. And so then, you know, in November through December, or whatever, we can continue to put this in all those spots.
Start
I
it
still
We
think
need
that we should
stories
walk
for the
around and ask
newsletter.
with it, I'm
questions.
there.
No, I think we're okay right now, I mean, again, it was the first one, we're just trying to, but eventually we'll.
You know that I can stop 25.
Oh, I know I can stop a lot of people, but they don't want, they would fill out something like 4 multiple
So maybe
choice,
we
but
can
they're not
all-
gonna answer female, male, all that crap.
Well, we
I'm
don't
telling you.
well, we wouldn't ask that, but if we could
wouldn't
just
ask it.
stand there, for example, let's say between 5:30 and 7:30 when people are lined out the door and people are standing in a group, you know, like I go with my husband and my friend, whatever, so there's 3 of us standing there talking. We can just walk up to them and say, hey, do you mind, we're on the comprehensive plan committee, do you mind if we ask you a couple questions for your opinion about the town? Boom, 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 keep it to 3-4 questions, and then
They're gonna
also,
say no all day, but guess what, we're gonna get yeses.
and then they can say, because if they're all 3 there saying, oh yeah, that's kind of a problem for me, now you get 3 votes on that one item, just because they said that. And then you can also say, hey, we have a more in-depth survey if you're interested in taking it.
But don't you want them all to take the same survey?
They are
We
taking the
would
same
use-
survey.
But if they're only answering a few questions to you, they're not doing the whole survey.
No,
we
what,
want to get as much info as possible. So if we
Why
can
can't you just
get-
give them the survey with a clipboard and say, here, fill this
Yeah, while
fill
you're
this out while
waiting,
you're
or
waiting in
you wanna
line.
fill this out while you're waiting?
didn't Deborah say she had 95 clipboards? Is that what she said? Deb said she got 95 clipboards? We'll bring 95 clipboards and 95 pens. And we'll do it like
I mean, I think
95
they're pretty friendly,
ways.
and people will
Bring
stop,
more,
and
cause
I
people
don't-
steal pens.
Is this before voting?
This is during the whole day. Like, we're just gonna go full bore, like full bore.
I mean, if you get them before they're
Yeah,
waiting in
do
line,
it.
I don't think there's an issue
If
with
there's
that.
a line,
I-
yeah,
You
if
gotta
there's a line,
check,
yeah.
because there's, again,
That's
Election-
what I
I
was
do
wondering.
have to
election,
say, though,
they're-
I was really
they're real
surprised.
sticky.
Well,
Who do we
you
have?
just have to
Who
say,
can I call?
Dale.
just
Who's
Yeah.
Dale.
Still, the office.
town
Town
clerk.
clerk.
But I
Just
have
call
to say,
Dale
at the last
Okay.
voting, I was.
To say it's,
last
and
couple
if you
votings,
tell
I
them
was
it's
really
not
shocked at how many people didn't come to vote.
it's not
They're all doing it.
related to
What do you call it?
Absentee.
politics.
Absentee.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was
Oh, yeah.
hardly, I was, it was the first time that I remember the president running and there not being a line like crazy. I mean, people are just doing it more and more absentee, they're not coming to the school and doing it.
Again, we've got people wait here, especially like Thursdays when it gets busy towards the end of the month, we put somewhere where they can grab a survey right at the door, not at the counter. At the door, please fill this out while you wait. And so, again, they're just sitting there, if we have a few clipboards, just fill them out while you wait. I mean, just all different things like that, but I mean, it's,
And if at the end of the survey you have, you know, cause people take them home, show them where it can be dropped off or whatever, or returned.
well, I think if we just get some boxes or whatever with a little slit at the top where they can just, you know, I mean, doesn't have to be very fancy.
Do we have anybody willing or already planning on refining these questions down to a sheet?
That's what we're all doing.
I think we can do it to the one page is what you're trying to say,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
Can we
I think
get-
1 page is good.
Get it to one page based on the conversation we've had tonight. And looking at the calendar, we have maybe 2 more meetings before the November vote.
Mhm.
So we get them
Do you have an iPad?
refined down to a page. I've got a couple tablets.
I have a couple iPads because I'm thinking, what if we brought those to instead of paper to the election, and they can do the Survey Monkey right there.
Well, cause you gotta do the registration for the Survey Monkey,
For each person?
I believe so.
You gonna log on and register? I sure am not gonna be able to do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'll check my checkbox.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think you
That's what
do
I'm
because I did Deborah's and I didn't register.
So back to the calendar of events coming up. So if we have 2 more, if we get refined to an approval stage or to a preliminary on one sheet for next meeting, and we approve, disapprove, make changes, whatever, then we have that last meeting before the final vote, approve, and then
Make copies.
we get copies, and then we make a plan of action of how we're gonna do it during the vote day. We get a roster of
If there's
participation.
administrators, maybe the administrators can, I'm sorry, I'm talking to her about
Timing to get things together,
Yeah, very much
and
so,
everybody's
yeah.
working in your inventories in the background. My inventory, I'm still waiting on Lee J to get back to me with the DOT. He's contact with DOT to find out when they're gonna be able to do their town road survey, whatever it is they do. So
Yeah, because this, survey, the inventories is gonna be, again, you gotta get this back, then we gotta collect all this data, figure out the
I
direction,
have a question about that.
so
We have a question about that. So this hasn't been updated since 91. Part of our little population thing, and I know that we're like jumping from surveys to this, but part of our population thing, do we need to figure out what that was for 91, 92,
it's gonna be in
93?
the survey, the community
No.
I would
online.
just
back do we
go
need to
to the most recent census. That's my
no, you're trying to so like you
Like, we have to
start
go
data
to-
so you can show growth, is that what you're
Right.
trying to say?
Yeah,
So
like
the-
we've got
the most
like,
recent-
You
Recent-
gotta see growth, then you have to have to go back to several different census.
Well, you have 2000, 2010. There's only 2 censuses
Yeah.
between now.
2010 was the last one. We won't
If
have
91 was
another
done right after the 1990 census, and then you have the 2000 and 2010 census.
And if you go on that citydata.com,
That was right here.
that's gonna have all the information from every census on it. You don't have to
We
go
went
back.
to the schools. Like
Yeah, we have the
when
school
we had
systems
the
and
school
stuff,
went back
too.
to 1991. That was when the last time they did it. So that's what
We need
really
the
how
information
far
for
back we have to
2000,
go.
and then we need the information for 2010.
And it should be right there all together.
Okay.
So we only go back to 2010.
We
That
got 2
one. You don't have to do every year.
No,
between,
every
right?
census year.
Every census year.
Oh,
It's every 10
Okay,
years.
it's every 10 years. Okay.
Alright.
What was that
Census
supposed to
years.
do today?
Every day. Every day. I love it. I love it
Some-
every day.
Some of the information that
Every
you look
day,
into,
every day.
the governments do extrapolations of data like at 2015, 2017, they do forecasts and stuff like that, so you might find some
Is there
census.
Wi-Fi at the elementary school? I know at the Hanson school there is.
Yes, I
There's
think
this
there
Wi-Fi at the LES school.
I think there is because I think we were hooked to Wi-Fi for the last town meeting. Because, actually, it wasn't Was it PowerPoint?
Because that's only going to work if there's Wi-Fi at the LES school.
Or if you're using one that runs off your cell.
Data plan.
But if they were there for
We'll find
somebody's
out.
there for 2-4 hours, that's a lot of
Data, yeah. Wi-Fi.
data chunk.
And maybe if we've got like a couple, if there's internet and what have you, and that links up, we could just set up like 3 stations.
I think that would be cool to
And if
have.
they have the time on the
I
way
think we
out.
just have somebody in line. Hey, fill this out, and we're just rotating down through the line. They have to
Yeah.
go to a table. They just here. This is a quick
You got a
survey.
minute for that? Great. Oh, I did that already. Oh, that got me. Oh, alright, my bad.
I always go for clipboards myself.
We could
You're welcome.
We can do both.
Yeah, sure.
I think about older
The
people
great
more
thing about
households.
SurveyMonkey is it's gonna tally it for us. We're not gonna have data entry that we're gonna have to do after.
Well, when we end up with 500 or 1,000 surveys, I'll say, you were right. Until then,
A lot of older people.
What's the average town,
What's that?
how many people do we have in the town?
But as for the manual entry, on a pad.
I will help put in
What the? No.
manual data entry stuff. I just don't think we're
I don't
gonna get
remember.
that many people I know it's
I don't know what town population is right now.
lovely.
And what's the percentage of voters in town?
Well,
Population versus percentage of voters?
Attending voters or registered voters?
Or,
Yeah, I think
uh,
it's
registered-
vote,
registered
it's
is-
supposed to vote.
I think registered. Well, he might.
Well, I mean, I would say attending voters, I mean, there could be the whole.
Well,
bunch
I'm
of
saying
registered
registered voters are like about half the town, and then actual voters it's 15 to 20, I think.
At the last census, there were 6,031 residents.
And that was 2010. Alright, and you feel that 50% show up to vote?
No, 50% are registered.
That's-
The amount of actual
Only half
Only half the town
is
votes.
registered to vote?
that's
eligible?
roughly it's somewhere around there 40, maybe 40,
You know,
maybe
yeah,
50.
the last election, I was
But
shocked
then-
at how many people, resident
That's
voters were
what I'm
signing
saying.
up to.
I was running up and back
People
and
were like,
getting those
I've
things and
never-
giving them to them in line.
But
You
they
ain't
were like, I've
registered.
never voted before.
You only got
And
one
like-
day.
One guy was like in his 60s, he said, I'd never voted before. They were all registered.
Yeah, because that was yeah. But again, and then more people come out for the presidential elections
Well,
than
yeah.
for any
I
other
mean, how many
election.
presidential elections do we have? He's 60 years old.
Well,
Yeah, I know, but
because it is contentious as
Okay,
the
so-
last one.
Yeah, and plus the contention, of the last election.
Yeah, I think it brought
was a
people
lot.
out. There was a lot
I
of
guess
people
that's what I'm
registering.
trying to navigate.
Yeah,
The
just like
line for registering was almost
I
as
was
long as
told
voting.
that
just like Obama brought out a lot of black voters that would never ever vote
Right,
otherwise.
that's true too, they had never voted.
had more than that, like 2,000, I think, but I don't remember the exact number. We had a full discussion about it. I don't remember exactly.
Okay. So this census population number is not 18 and over. This is the census.
Right, that's the
That
total
was
public.
that was total population from 2010.
So voting wise, we're concerned of the 18 and plus.
Mhm.
Really?
Right.
So for this survey that we're trying to put together, do we even want to know the under what have you? Because really, if we're trying to
Well, the under 18 was just for
Kids.
along lines of education type needs and stuff like that.
do we need that right now in this like 5-second pop survey?
It's
Well, it depends if she's gonna put.
No,
out
it's the
there or not.
demographics, because if you're trying to get an attitude,
and
So
so
you're
if you want to
trying to
know,
get- are you
here's
talking
people with
about-
families, here's people
are these
with.
with kids, people with families, is that attitude versus seniors versus
Right, so
Yeah.
who's
Yeah.
filling out
Do
the
you have
survey?
kids?
Right?
younger people, so it's just to try to
You
get.
wanna know who's the majority of people filling the survey out. You know, you're getting a high response, but you're figuring out that 75% of your survey takers are 35 to 45 and have kids at home, and that's
It's really
Okay.
slanted.
skew your
Or you're
results.
not getting any soccer moms, and now you need to go down to the soccer and go up there and do the survey.
Okay.
You know, I mean, we
Alright.
need to know where.
And I guess just from my perspective, moving forward, if we're trying to build the community and get the community involved to being active in their opinion and their say and how it's gonna move forward, we really should try to focus eventually on the non-registered voters that have the ability to vote. You know, pull something together and try to get them, if you're, 16, 17 years old, maybe we ought to start hitting it there. But the
that's
importance
thing,
of when
well,
you.
that's another
the
thing.
importance
That's
of voting
another
and
side
registering
issue
and-
about 17, 18, trying to get
A
them
lot-
to vote and
well, a
stuff
lot
like
of
that.
them don't
That's
even, probably a lot of 18
They don't
year olds don't
understand
care
it.
about what's going on
They
in
don't
town.
care, but they don't. I know at 18.
How many of them are
wasn't
sitting there
explained
right
to me.
now?
You know.
You know,
Yeah, but
they
that's-
don't care.
that's,
They don't care so much.
Not that I don't agree 100% with what you're saying. That's actually not the design of this committee. I mean, this is a comprehensive plan, future. I mean, it's not trying to institute change in the community.
Yeah.
So that's not.
That's what I was trying
We're,
to say.
we're
is it's
creating
not-
we're creating a plan with what the people in the community want. We're trying to help take that input and put it into a vision, into a plan for them. Okay, but we're not trying to institute change.
Unless they want it,
Okay,
right?
the plan may say we have a huge percentage of the population is non-registered. So we can then strategize on ways we can put in the
To
plan
change
that
that.
we should try to enroll, or we should try to act, get them enrolled. It can give you that for a plan, but then the action part comes later. So that's not.
No, and that's what I said. Like later, that's the whole voting.
Yeah, because
thing,
like
18 and over, that's
even
not
plus
today or
even
tomorrow.
the voter.
But I mean, as a community, I know at 18 years old, I was not. It was never ever presented to me I live in a lady auxiliary at 18 years old, but I feel that a lot of the younger community, there's not a lot of education as to how you can be involved in your community after you get out of high school.
Well,
While you're in high
Right,
school.
although I will.
But that's an issue. That's an issue to bring out
That age
to
bracket needs to be
the
focused on long-term,
you
that's all
know
I'm
to
saying.
bring
Not
out to
to
the
get
schools
this
that maybe they got to do more with the civics.
Well, it's not even with this.
You know,
Boy Scouts
We need
makes
more
them
people
part of
involved though, I feel, you know?
That's
Girl
actually-
Scouts, Boy Scouts.
That's actually an issue in the,
'Cause some of that-
in
some
the
of that
entire
is-
United States. You go to other
Yeah,
countries and it's
right.
like mandatory to vote. I mean, they
Yeah.
have. You go to Australia, they get like a
And-
90.
and they're
Oh, I voted as
Putting
soon
the
as
education out there about
you
that.
know, there's a lot of people that now there's the talk about automatically when you go to do your driver's license. Now they're gonna register to vote automatically.
Wouldn't that be?
That's gonna skew your your survey questions.
Email
I mean,
invitation.
your thing about you're asking how many people have registered to vote. Well, in the future,
I'm not.
everyone that's of driving age will be that's
Yeah, but
18
right, but I'm
will
asking-
vote.
They can't make it though.
Yeah.
I'm
But if we have a web
asking
link,
it more
we can
of
just
like,
click
if
on
we've
the
got
link,
6,000
then
people,
somebody can fill
obviously
it
we're
out.
not gonna go find 6,000 people to take this survey because they're not eligible.
You know what, people, right.
Is I guess what it
They don't
was-
get around
Yeah, I
this
need
stuff.
to,
If people
I
wanna
need to
do it,
go.
they'll do it. If they don't, they won't.
Right, absolutely.
Pretty much comes down to
So I
it.
don't know if there's anything we have to vote on tonight
So
anyway,
if we could take this.
but I gotta go, I got
Can we take
Okay.
this out to
another
the-
scout activity, so.
Nothing to
Can I
vote
have
on.
coffee?
Okay.
Yeah, right,
Agent
right, yeah,
meeting,
yeah.
Give them out. to
Well,
them,
where you know
you know,
go wherever you have influence.
wherever, yeah.
Make them feel guilty. Dark, yeah.
Sarah, were you talking about SurveyMonkey and what it offers?
Yeah, it was.
A lot.
I'm thinking about perhaps getting the town to get a paid subscription to that. Not the. And there's actually another one, the Survey Gizmo, I think it is. That's a.
How long are the subscriptions good for?
Um,
If it's an annual
it's
subscription?
a monthly. They
Or is
bill. It's a monthly, but I think they bill annually. But my point is that.
Well, you can have multiple
You can
surveys,
have
you just don't pay it once for one
Yeah.
survey and then.
Right, you can have multiple surveys and the paid one allows a little bit more flexibility and so, and the whole purpose is that it allows the town, not just comprehensive planning board, but it allows the town to ask surveys as well to get it. So we could have a survey on things that we may want, like the selectmen wanna know. We may throw out a quick 5-question survey, hey, give us your thought on this and we can, so I'm just saying, it may be something that's valuable for more than one department. So I'm looking at it, I mean, it may be worth it to do that because it helps, we can use it for a lot of different,
A lot of different departments.
I mean, the fire department can use it if they wanted to send out a survey for something, I mean, everybody
And
can.
you don't have to register before you take the survey.
Okay. Well, I was thinking also that if you log in with an administrator, the administrator might,
So
you know.
you could-
Because that way we also then, again, it's also a little bit of a control issue because if the town does it, it's now the town has it rather than this person does it or that person does it. That way, if I have it, I have all that data at the town level rather than at an individual level.
Even everybody.
Sorry.
I know.
Did you ever hear back
Yeah.
from?
Because you don't have to register.
Yep.
To take the survey, and then if you have the free account, you can choose from.
Did you ever hear back
three
from
of these
Southern
5
Main
options.
about the
Right,
different
but I'm
stuff
thinking
they're
I do
going to
the
send
next
us?
level up, which
Right.
they're
In
not
November,
gonna-
they're going to send us the stuff.
It's not, I mean,
Okay.
it's like $400 a year or whatever it ends up being, which really cost wise isn't a huge.
Right.
If you use it, I mean, if after a year we're not using it, then we delete it and, you know,
But I mean, we have to do at least 2 surveys
comprehensive's
ourselves.
gonna be doing it and then, yep, so. And again, there's nothing wrong with other departments, you know, I mean, we may have a transfer station survey question about, hey, about things that's going on there. Try to
Yeah,
get-
that's a good question, because there's been like questions about the waste management and how that works and ways to relook at that, I don't know what committee or whatever, but ways to relook at that for the town to be making money at the transfer station.
Making money?
Yeah, if we recycle and stuff, right, we don't make money on any of that?
Oh, yeah, I mean, we.
Not a topic for today, but just when you say
we don't
transfer
necess- well, we
station
don't-
surveys,
we don't
yeah,
necessarily-
that
We
pops
don't
up in my
necessarily
head.
make money, but it doesn't cost us money, so in other words,
So why are we not making money, I guess would be a better question, what can we
Yeah.
do at the transfer station to start making the town money?
well, probably nothing, it costs us a lot of money to, you know, as recyclables
Those
doesn't,
add up quick.
recyclables doesn't go into there, but you still have to pay from the haul them away. And
Why are we
it's just-
paying someone to haul away?
It's it's a single source.
5 centers, and we can be,
It's a
we can
single
flip it back
source.
into the.
Same thing with the TVs, we pay, you have to drop off, but all that gets recycled.
Well,
Lot
that
of-
I
lot of
understand, there's a
e-waste and
recycling fee for that, but we
Yeah.
pay somebody to take away money.
Yes.
Yes.
Am I right or am I wrong? I mean, does that make sense? We have to
Well, it's-
recycle in this town.
It's easy. I mean, there's.
So we all go and throw a bunch of
5 cents.
5 centers, we have the Boy Scouts that we give clink to.
I don't.
So I guess I don't understand
no,
why
I
we
don't-
throw
I
all
don't-
our.
He's
recycling
talking
into
about,
a big bucket
I don't
and then we
understand
have
your
waste
question.
management haul it
I
off
don't-
and we pay them to do that.
She's talking about stuff like aluminum, you know, if we were to collect it and, I'm just saying, well,
Talk
oh,
about this bottle, if I buy it
We
in
have-
Sandwich.
oh, yeah, the
it's
5
5
cents.
cents, if I buy it in
Right,
Rochester,
but
I
we
don't
have,
have any.
we have single waste, which means paper, cardboard, anything recyclable goes into the same bin, correct? So you want somebody to then go and pick out all the
No,
5
that's not what I'm
cents?
saying at all, I'm saying if we have to put all of
If
our
we had a
glass
bin
and
for
stuff.
why
in
don't
the
they,
bin,
why don't the,
Why isn't that another
why
bin
doesn't
for
Waste
5
Management
centers
pay us
Because
for it?
that
because
Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, towns, somebody can benefit
That's-
They
from
do
that.
have that, don't
that's
they?
fine, they do, and a lot of the Boy Scouts have stuff where you can do that,
At the transfer
Yeah.
station?
No.
okay?
Or
But
what?
again,
No.
are you gonna get people to, where are you gonna put it to get people to do that?
People then
There's
have to,
nobody, like, I was on a Go Green committee at the hospital in Portsmouth, and you would be amazed that when you open up conversation about recycling and how that can bring back money to the community, it's amazing what people will do.
well, then that, but someone
Right,
else
but-
has to
Not a
do that,
conversation for
yeah.
today,
No,
but
but
like,
who wants
these
to-
are the things in the town that we need to look at
Yeah.
overall as a community.
No, but who in the community wants to raise money?
Who doesn't wanna raise
No, no,
money
no,
in the
no, no,
community?
no, no, who in the community wants to raise money? Well, then why aren't you doing something? That's my.
Am I not here
No,
right now
but
on this
no,
committee?
No, but what I'm saying is if the Boy Scouts wanna raise money,
And they
all the
are,
boys-
they're raising cans.
but
They
then
do.
they go out and they say, hey, they put those out, so they're doing that.
So.
So,
You
But
have
Not
to
this
figure,
conversation.
yeah.
I
no,
don't
but I'm
wanna
just
go
saying the
anymore.
town
I don't wanna
transfer
go
station
anymore.
isn't, okay.
I don't
you can
wanna
bring it
go
up, you can bring it up in a town meeting.
I will, yeah, maybe that's where it needs to be, or I'll
Yeah.
get a hold of Waste Management and find out if maybe we can get like a recycling thing that they will donate to us so that our Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts can stop there once a week and pick them up. Because I would be able to separate my 5 centers from my glass if I knew that it was going back to the community
I know,
somehow.
like the soccer
And I
people
really
do it
feel
and stuff
that
like they'll say
Right.
they're gonna do it.
Boy
You
Scouts
would
and
have, you
Girl
have to,
Scouts
you have to
got
get them to
commitment
do that,
pick it
yeah,
up.
it's more than just,
You're
oh,
right.
it's there, it's,
But
it takes
Absolutely.
effort
There's the
by
follow-through
people that
to
wanna
the
do it.
idea,
Yeah.
but
Well, and there's a lot more, cause again, if you have a combined, who does it go to, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, they compete.
then they
All
divide
these,
it,
all these groups compete.
then they divide it. I mean, that's just a long-term thing, it's just, if you
Yeah.
run up transfer
Just so
station,
there's less
that
garbage
made
being
me
taken.
think,
You think
why, like, we're recycling,
That's
but
going,
we're
yeah,
not
that's
recycling.
going to, you know, yeah.
And now that was funny.
It's
'cause we're
work.
getting somebody to take money out
Yeah,
of
it is work, and that's another reason why you pay, when you have single source, you're paying Waste Management to do that work for you.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Cause they have guys
So with
that,
the, like, plastic thing.
and they got machines that wash the labels off and the paper goes to their,
Alright, are we all done?
Paper
Next
recycling
meeting is-
people
we're
and-
not all done.
Right.
We're not
I
done.
know the groups
Okay.
that do
I
it.
gotta put my back
We're
on.
not done.
oh, we're not,
We're
oh.
not done.
Norm
sorry.
left.
Norm left, right, but we're not done.
Do we have a form?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes.
How many do we have to have?
I don't know, 6.
We have to have
6.
half. And we have 11 now.
So
Numbers,
5
right?
and a half.
11
So we have to
numbers.
have 5.5.
5 and a
Good
half.
thing we didn't leave.
You.
So, we were talking about the survey, monkey and survey question.
So Peg and I were gonna email ours, we're gonna get together, we're gonna restructure, and we're gonna email them to you, is that okay?
Sure.
For the next meeting, I like Norm's
So
idea.
do you have the base sheet, is that what that is that you have from,
That was our original
Oh,
sheet
previous.
that we
Rubbish.
made.
so perhaps you could refresh everybody's memory?
Does everybody still have a copy of this?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, they may or they may not, or you can scan it in if you want, is that a clean copy? You want me to,
Copy? No, I have it.
you want me to scan it in?
Yeah, you want to scan it?
I'm just,
Email it,
actually, I'll make a
you can
copy
scan it
then.
and email it?
Yeah, make a
No.
copy.
Well,
'cause
that's,
it's wrinkly.
that's my point, is that then you can email it to everybody, to say, here, that's the homework to go through this, we
I
want
thought we
it.
already had that from home.
Well, we did, but
Well,
not,
we'll attach it, and it'll be like a
Like
homework.
every week until we.
For
we need to get these questions
Yeah,
down
we
so
gotta
that
get them
everybody
done,
agrees.
yeah, so we can get them out.
So do we meet next week?
No,
Yeah.
we're not meeting weekly.
It works for me, but.
We probably have to. Or almost.
We'll meet on the off weeks, Peg, yeah. That'll work out though, like, we'll just schedule. We'll get a homework and then we'll do it. So Peggy's gonna stop at the school and ask Chris about the Wi-Fi over there.
Okay.
And then we can also, like, my notes right here, we'll just plug in a list of all the places in
I'll
town.
text her even, I can text her.
Yeah.
Text her right
Yeah.
now.
Text her.
So a
what?
lot of the
Ask her
questions
what.
about like, can we pass out something?
Yep.
Yeah, cause there's no Wi-Fi at
Like, I'll
the
try to get a-
Does
transfer
anybody else
station.
want a copy of this one?
Yeah, please, mine was all written on.
Do you wanna,
No, I got one, so.
no, anybody else?
Oh, sure.
Mine's one.
You already have one?
Yeah,
Nice, this is nice.
Would have been ready
Flat
on.
for you.
I have too many binders, too many committees, too many things to do. I still feel like multiple.
Like multiple too.
I just feel like we could get way more information out of all these questions, and it's a short 5 questions.
Question 3, what is one thing you would like to change about Lebanon? And, yeah, you could get more if you said, what are,
Is on number 5, is it supposed to be a list of objectives, not objections?
I don't know. I have to find that original one that you gave me because I copied it from that.
yes, it must be
How many
objectives.
questions?
Yeah, it has to be objectives, yeah.
So how many questions do you think we should have on it?
As few as possible.
So how many is that?
We're gonna do our homework, Peggy.
As few as possible. I don't know.
Are you thinking?
I thought we were going with this and then we're adding the demographics to it.
Are you adding the demographics to what? To
Yeah.
another sheet of paper?
Well, number 1 is out because that's just leaving it blank, so I mean,
Okay,
that's
so
the,
number 1's out, but
We were gonna
can
restructure
you get them
that
all
to
on
be-
this one sheet?
They can't be completely restructured because we can't have 2 committee members restructure an entire survey when there's a board of 11 people.
Yeah, but don't we like submit it for a change, like, and then we just
could,
agree
yeah.
as a group?
we have
We
this
were
whole,
talking-
we have this whole page, so we can kind of put demographics, we're trying to get everything on one page, so you
Right,
can,
but
we
okay,
can
but you
reduce
can only
font,
fit so
we can
many
do.
on one page.
No, I know.
I'm just asking, I'm just trying to get an idea, trying to move on, and how many questions are you gonna put on there? If we have 4 on this
I
page.
think it's 4 or 5, I mean, there's, I think
Well,
that's
and
all
how about
there.
on the other
There's
side?
4 here, yeah.
And you have
If we have 4
1,
here,
2, 3, 4, maybe 5,
so
no,
we can fit 9
yeah.
on here, right? You don't have too many, but you
No,
Well, again, I mean,
yeah.
sex is, gender is.
Yeah, you
is
can do
one
count,
line.
you can do count, you know, the
So-
short ones is 2
So
counts
that's
and
all you
then.
really, are you gonna, sorry, what was your name again? Sorry, Sarah, I'm sorry. So I never really addressed her.
No, we're
much.
the same, we're,
Hey, you.
What's your name?
right? I don't know half the time.
So is the plan is that you're gonna like, kind of put all these questions down on one sheet for our next meeting so that we can kind of look over it and say, yeah, that's a go?
I
Or
don't
do you
make
want-
decisions.
I thought you were in charge of it.
No, she is, but like, we have
We
to
have to vote.
vote, so like, what we'll do is we look at the questions
Well, that's
and
what I mean.
kind of come back in the next meeting, which we'll pick a date, and then we'll decide and say, okay, this is question 1, this is question 2.
So
this
whatever
question
you
3,
guys
and then
come
she'll
up
type it
with,
and make it pretty.
you
Election?
present it to the board next meeting, and then we say, yes, we like that, no, we don't like that, what are we gonna do?
So we
talk
all
more.
have our,
and
we
then
all
we
do
all
a
vote.
list?
So every question
But I
will be
don't have
voted on.
those questions that you're gonna ask, so we can't do this if we don't have the questions that they're gonna put on it.
The
That
demographics.
they want, the demographics, I
Okay,
don't
so
have that.
can
You
we
have
send
the
that?
demo now.
I just don't know my papers.
We just
I
kind of
I
agreed
caught
on
some
tonight.
of it, you have some of the age groups that I,
So do you want me to,
I want you to write down what those are.
so I can
there you go. There's the original question.
try to take this and what we just talked
What
about
does that say?
demographics
That's what we don't
and
have,
put it,
so
and
we
I
can
could
put
try
it
to
on
take
there.
that and
About
put
land
it
use
all on
and
one page.
development and the central region.
for everybody.
Following is a list of objectives.
Okay, I just
Still.
had-
Wait,
I had a
where's the
question.
tape?
Okay, so can I see your list?
Yes, that's what I was trying to find.
Yeah.
Alright.
I can make a copy of that
Oh
if you
yeah,
want.
could you, because we can't write a list.
That's what I
No,
thought.
you don't steal my pen.
I can remember female, male, but I don't remember all those age groups
Yeah.
and all that.
I
So
wrote
kinda have
some
to
of them
give it a
down,
list.
but I didn't catch all of them
He's
either.
gonna make a copy for us, so he could probably make a copy for you.
No, when I look
You know
at,
what I mean?
Who's making a copy of this here?
No.
of what-
That was where I
what
got
they
that
want-
original
What we all
question.
agreed to put on, what we thought would be a good idea.
Those options here are not those options there. We discussed those. We just stole this whole little idea.
And put it here.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's cool.
Alright.
Just so because I don't know those
Guidelines,
age groups. I
ideas
don't know
on-
any of those age groups or anything they put, so if he gives us a copy of what they wrote down, then we can make up our list and present it to them, and they have,
Well, our
it
list
should be
ain't
all about the same.
Yeah.
Should it all be about the same, we've all discussed it. More paper. Right? Our list should all be about the same, because we all discussed what we thought should be on it.
Yeah, so what I was trying to say is I can take this, what we just talked about the demos and these 5 questions and throw them all on one paper and email them to you, cause I don't have the full distribution list, I think you do. And then you can email them out to everybody and take a
And then
look,
they can.
add your changes, add your edits or whatever and bring to the next meeting. Does that work, doesn't it?
And then are we gonna vote on each question as it makes its way to this survey?
Well, then I think once next meeting, when we have edits, we go through that, and once we've decided how we wanna edit that question, we can vote on it. And if they all get done, then we can put it into a survey and then,
My phone is actually.
does that, I think that makes sense, I don't know.
No, just,
I'll let you know,
yeah, come back and
because
then
the battery's real
we'll,
low, so I just texted Chris at the Lebanon.
about the Wi-Fi,
Wi-Fi.
so we'll,
But she hasn't texted me
get a
back,
hold
but
of
she,
Chris
and
at the
sometimes
school.
when it's really low, it doesn't go through.
Okay.
So,
Cause if we can have Wi-Fi, then we can do the iPad. He has a
Right.
couple tablets.
I mean, I don't think it hurts to have a
Clipboards,
bunch
I'll
of
get a
different
hold of
ways,
Deb.
you know, the clipboards,
Deborah, maybe.
the
Deb said she was telling me don't buy.
Wi-Fi where, tablets where?
School.
oh yes.
Or some of the survey questions.
Yeah, before you go too deep, just double check with
That's
Dale.
what she's doing.
We,
to
While
find
they're
out
standing in
what-
line.
Dale has a highlighted
Might have
checkbox.
to be after.
Again, I just, elections
I'm
are
gonna
real,
call Dale and
elections
get
are real
him.
tricky, I mean, even with a candidate outside, I can't even hold the door for an elderly person, I have to ask some,
Really?
oh no, I mean, it's really, really good.
That's why I say, Chip, he didn't even hold the door for me. Look at that
So,
gentleman. No.
so yeah, you have to, it's real, elections are just real fun. Even though what we're doing is absolutely innocent, it's just,
Right.
How it can be
Oh,
perceived.
right. So at least less than going to be after.
Yeah,
so I know they have the area afterwards, but again, you know, how much noise you can make, how much can you ask questions, I refer all that to Dale,
Okay.
cause he's in charge of elections.
We can ask.
I've got a question and a suggestion, and that is that number 1, stay there, an open-ended question, and I volunteer to collate every single answer. Nobody else has to do a thing, just
I'll help you.
list on something, and I'd say, what are 1 or 2 things you would like to see for the future of Lebanon? And I'll take care of all the logistics, and I've got a backup, a partner here.
I agree, I think it's an important question to find out what direction this town is going in.
You talking about number
Talking
one,
about
you talking about number 1
Yeah.
list?
Doesn't
Even
hurt
though
to ask
it's
people.
not
If someone doesn't wanna type it in, they can just skip it.
Or you could just ask people even.
I mean, that's what you both came up with when you asked about us, your first thought about a survey is kinda like that question.
Okay, put it on your notes for the next meeting.
So number 1, we'll just type in keep as is, suggested.
Keep Harvey and Mel volunteer.
And I'm usually there all day pretty much, between the historical table.
Yeah.
But I can go back and forth, cause people will cover. And I can recruit people and I can say, oh, don't forget to stop and do that, even if I'm at the store.
And number 2, are we looking at multiple choose? Is that what we're looking at, or rank? Which
I think it's best if we do multiple
I'd like
on all of these
multiple.
questions, because
So,
then we can.
on 2, it wasn't,
Now choose one, it's rank.
is it rank or is it choose?
Cross out the 1 anyway.
Right.
Well, there's, I'm thinking 3 that has little questions.
And there's gonna be no others.
Yeah, no others.
I don't know.
No others, why
Choose
no
as
others?
many as you
No
want.
fill-ins, no fill-ins.
So it's not like what you like best, it's what do you like
Two
about it.
ones on that monkey thing.
Rank in order of
Or
You
preference.
can't
Or-
put them in on that?
Or maybe,
gotta be checked
Maybe,
off.
so you maybe.
The biggest challenge, I think, is a better one to rank.
Okay.
Number 4.
Right.
Biggest challenge, I think, is a better one to rank. No? Yes?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's where I'm gonna deal with my suggestion
I was gonna-
I've already got that one right now.
Biggest challenges.
Biggest challenges,
I'm gonna
yes,
give
what
it
do you
to
feel the biggest
5.
challenges are? And
So I
number
think that was
5, that
rank.
one's,
I think what do you like best? I think that would choose multiple or choose, or just leave it open just that they can choose more than one. The one thing you like to change, that's obviously choose one.
I'd
There's
leave
only
it
4
open.
things there, so.
anything else we need to work on?
Just 5, what are you gonna do about 5?
That's a monster.
Hmm.
I would,
That's
Yeah.
where I think that's the one we're talking about, that would be the degree. Whether it's,
Well, is that just a plain old rank? I mean, why do we
Could
wanna
you-
make it difficult versus M for the most, 3
Because
M's?
you chose that question and told me to
That's
copy it.
that's a question of like, someone's gonna look at that and be like,
well, so
but you have a quick question, would you like to maintain the low levels
That's
of environment
what you gave
population,
me
or would you like
The
having
last
access to
time you
open?
liked it, so that's why I copied
No, the
it.
question you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind the question, but it is.
I mean, if we just-
It's how you rank it.
It's the environment and population,
yes.
is,
I think we
Yeah.
should rank it too,
Keywords.
cause M's and
Is it
L's.
access?
kinda tough.
That's
are we gonna
confusing,
rank it
though.
one through whatever number, or
Yeah,
are we gonna do degrees?
Well, no, I think there's 10, there's 10.
High, middle, low.
There's no other, we'll leave other out of that one.
and it goes in here, expanding and
And then
attracting.
just rank,
1 through 10.
rank whatever,
Sounds good.
One through
rank
10.
whatever,
Yeah,
rank,
More than 10.
rank whatever there's there.
Simplifying.
Number 3, what if we change that to which items would you like to change about Lebanon?
No, because we asked, and number 1, we said, what is the one thing you would like to see for the future? We didn't leave out multiple, so that's the one thing you would like to see, this is the one thing that you like to change. Because we have other ones, what is,
should
we have
leave
biggest,
that as fill in the blank?
we have biggest challenge, and so that we're ranking, so.
Well, I had that, my change would be for orderly growth. It's, you know what I mean, as we grow, for it to be, you know what I mean?
Well, that's planning and land
Orderly
use, that would be
growth.
planning and land use, because that's
No
what
wonder
we're.
you're here.
Change that.
With land use.
Planning and land use would be.
Oh, okay, so that would be like an orderly growth.
Yeah.
As we, as we grow, we need to put things a little bit in order.
Yep.
We're out of control.
Was planning, I mean, that's,
Okay, so.
you know,
We're out of control.
I don't know, we are out of control.
I mean, we can maybe come up with a couple other ones to throw in there, I mean, but,
Well, I was thinking like planning and landing, I was kind of thinking of using it for,
growth, I mean, again, you could put down growth rates, residential growth or, we're certainly not commercial growth, but residential growth could be one, if you like to change that, yes or no. Planning and land use is kind of broad, and they may not know what is planning and land use.
well, that's what I didn't know, I didn't know it was
Yeah.
the same thing, that's why I spent orderly growth.
So we could put down, residential growth.
And it's not just that, it's businesses too. You know what I mean? As businesses are coming in and stuff that's done the proper way,
And then,
or we have to
so well, then
regulate
I
it.
just do this, then you can just do commercial growth.
Or both, yeah, or both.
No, I'd keep
I
them
had
separate.
use of open
Okay.
space, I had use of
This is
open
not one
spaces
more.
as well, so
I'm just
just,
gonna do some homework.
that's kind of
Alright.
land, that's kind of a land use, that's why I'm,
Thank you
so,
for my copy,
whatever,
please.
alright,
Okay.
alright.
Chip, is there a list of,
I thought
It's
so
in there.
too.
It's in there. I thought it was just
Any
money
other
for change.
you might come up with?
Somebody buy issues.
Any other
Yeah, somewhere,
somewhere?
Jordan has it,
Okay.
So what do you
you
think?
gotta pull it up by Lebanon, the owner.
Yeah, simplify the
What do you think
question.
about anything
Rules
that's
or whatever?
a good
Huh?
idea,
Yeah.
or
Okay.
Yeah, I do, and.
So is it in the,
Idea simplifying this and.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
And
is it in the roles you put out on the
The tax
online?
bills?
definitely would wanna keep other,
I think they weed those
people are
out,
gonna think of things that.
No, cause I can look,
because the zero
We do
tax.
other on them,
yeah,
I
okay,
think
cause I
they-
looked through I've looked through,
Some people,
If you
we don't
volun-
think about some people.
as I used the tax rolls to figure out.
Peg, if you agree to volunteer with Mel
How much
and
money?
I'll be there all day.
collate, well, after all these surveys come in, somebody's
Oh, gosh, yeah.
gonna
The
have to.
handwritten others we can definitely do, I don't.
Thousands of surveys come in.
Oh,
Thousands.
Then
We only have
I'll say
6,000 to
darn.
do.
I don't care, I'll help out, I don't.
Alright, good, then we got the manpower to do it.
So next meeting is purely getting the survey done, is that?
Yeah.
And
It's coming down to crunch.
questions,
Okay, on the
How about,
survey.
and
also,
questions that we have on inventory?
yeah, kind of status, each of us sort of do a little brief thing on where we're at on our area.
Inventory update and then
And
survey.
if,
Okay.
like, I have some questions that I could use help on, so if we have things we need.
How are you doing on yours? Are you working on it?
Yeah,
I'm kind of at
Every-
a standstill right
every
now.
day, cause I got nothing better to do. Is there a section on code enforcement, cause I could do that one right now.
Yeah, I have a lot of questions with code enforcement. So Tuesday didn't seem to be any better than Wednesday for attendance.
I know, where-
I like Wednesdays better.
Doesn't matter to me.
How often are we meeting? We have a car show on Wednesdays at the restaurant.
Every other week.
so-
So we'd be looking at the 11th at this point.
Monday?
Is it Tuesday or
It's a
Wednesday?
Wednesday.
That's a Wednesday.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, the 11th is,
What am I doing on the 11th?
isn't that the town
That's
meeting?
a town meeting, so we're not doing that.
How about the 10th?
So Tuesday the 10th?
Do we have anything?
I don't know. I'm just looking,
Just
it's
show
not
up
there.
every night, because every night you're supposed to be here anyway.
I'm 24/7, man.
Yeah, the calendar's open. Looks good.
It's wide open to me.
Oh, wait, October we're looking.
No, there's
Yeah.
nothing, I looked at October, bottom corner, there's
Oh, you know
nothing
what?
there.
That looks good too. Empty.
You weren't even looking at on the date. Can you look at that one right there?
Ain't nothing on that one either.
Oh, wait, so
We don't use that one.
Okay.
Um,
Oh, there's a lot
hearing.
of stuff written in.
There is stuff written in.
that was awkward. Public hearing, LES 6:30, October 11th. It looks like this could be open.
October 9th is Columbus Day.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think 10th is fine. So you said 10th, Tuesday, yeah.
Tuesday.
Observed.
Yep.
What?
Observed. Sorry, I grew up. October 11th is Columbus Day all the time. It's only observed on the Monday.
Yeah, I thought it was October 12th for some reason.
I just said whatever my Apple calendar said.
Yeah.
Can you write
Like I
it
said,
in
it's,
on the
for some reason, I
calendar?
don't know when it changed over, but it all of a sudden just became observed on Monday. On a Monday.
So October 10,
That's just-
Tuesday, 6 p.m.
10:10.
Okay, and you're John Paul?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, good. Peg, what's your last name, Peg?
LePage. Lephee.
L-E-P-A-G-E.
And what was your first name again?
Harvey.
Like the hurricane.
There we
The
go.
election. What day is
So I'll try not to remember to call you Irma.
Thank you.
Tuesday, November. What it always is.
20th?
I don't know.
Listen.
Yep.
Isn't that right?
Second Tuesday, November is the
So I'm
fourth.
just
I actually
saying,
got one
You're
right.
a calendar girl, aren't you?
You got
we'll
one right.
we don't have many meetings
She's like
before
Vanna
that,
White of the
because if we
calendar.
do the 10th, then we could either do
What
the
was it,
24th or the
Yosaka?
25th.
Oh, I said
Right.
Vanna White of the.
And
No, oh, I'm talking about calendar girls. Neil
Oh, the
Sedaka.
calendar. I don't know. Was it?
Or the 8th.
I know the song
And
of
then the
calendar
next
girl.
week is the election, so
The
we
song
have
calendar
opportunity.
girl.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Neil Sedaka, wasn't it?
Well, I mean, again, if
Could've
we
been, I don't know.
if we can hash it out tomorrow, next meeting. I mean,
And then we could use the last meeting as the final, let's put it together, so we have.
no, I would use the next one to, let's put it together and get it freaking done.
Just get it done.
Yeah.
Get her done.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
We
why,
make copies, right?
I mean, if we vote on the question, it's just a matter of printing it correctly, but it's just, if we vote, we're done.
Right.
And then we can ask you the next one on strategy of how to get it out there. And places to put it and what the,
So I need
Are we gonna need
6
to know
members
that
to
she
show
knew
up.
that on there with-
So,
I'll be here. I'll talk to Karina too and find out. I did see
Um,
Judy and let her know, but she was just getting back from vacation too, so.
Yeah, I mean, we can have certainly
Yeah.
a couple of defaults, but I mean, it depending on where we.
Yeah, right here's good. I mean, everybody knows the town office is.
Yeah, they swing. They gotta swing by. I mean.
Or yeah, going to schools, going wherever, just drop it off.
You know, I mean, again, I mean, the surveys. I mean, we can put some at some of the daycare facilities.
We
I
can
mean,
brainstorm a
moms,
list.
they can pick them up there. I mean, you know,
Anything else?
some of them may even pick them. They may even be drop-offs. Hey, can you collect them and just give me a call when you get 5 or
You
more,
may
and
not
I'll
be able
come
to give it
pick
to
them
the
up.
school, but you think we could hang one up on the bulletin board? This,
The school doesn't
Again,
usually
school's
allow
pretty
us to do
funny.
Yeah.
School's pretty funny.
Schools cracking down on that stuff, they said.
it's just advertisement. They don't pick them
Yeah,
up there.
they
it's
still
just
don't,
there.
yeah, for some reason they,
Oh, that's Chris.
I think they've become very paranoid about stuff.
Paranoid is the town.
Doesn't matter, they're paranoid.
That's something I'll back to. But I'll let you know as soon as I do it, okay? And then, or someone, I can let you, I can email you through my email. Do I have your email address through my email?
If you receive my emails, you do.
Okay, alright, so I can even email you.
You can just
Have you
respond.
received your emails?
Yeah.
Okay, then you're good.
I believe
You're
I've
in.
gotten one. I know Andy gets them anyways.
I'm using a town.
Is it?
I'm using the town address. So sarah.o'brien@lebanonmaine.org. Is it .com? What is it? What?
.org.
.edu?
No. Org.
.educate you?
All right. I need a motion.
Motion to close?
Second.
My mail is the town mail.
Yep, I wrote that down.
So next Tuesday at the classroom, but we can do it early if you want.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
We don't have to do it late next time because Tuesday is already out.